Welcome to another deadline stream ahead of Game Week 11 in FPL. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. I'll try to get through as many questions and comments as possible. And as you can see, I have put a poll out and already 47 of you have voted. So thank you very much. And of course, the kind of results I'd say are pretty even. And it does show some of the kind of selection headaches we have upon us this week. So it should be good. Hopefully this week is much better than Game Week 10, at least from my perspective. I know some of you have been killing it. And of course, there have been some big news even today, including the likes of Chilwell and Alonso. So we'll be talking about that very soon. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. And I'll be talking about my team very shortly. Of course, I have already talked about this in my preview and in my team selection. But still, we can be giving some updates nonetheless. So thank you very much to Lipok who's been waiting. So your question, the dilemma I'm facing, pick 3, Duffy, Livramento, Rafinha, Foden, Hwang or Antonio. That's a tough one. But if I had to pick 3, I would go for Foden. I know he has the toughest fixture on paper, but I'd go for him. I'd also go for Rafinha. And the third one, that's tough. It has to be between Duffy and Antonio, to be fair. I'd probably go for Antonio. But benching the others doesn't seem right to me, to be honest. And I know some people may disagree with the selections I just picked there. So Baraka says, never bench a striker, I guess. Livramento is good value. If Cancelo won't play, he comes in. I think Antonio has a chance to get returns against Liverpool. That's pretty much what I've been talking about in my previous videos. And that's why currently I do have Antonio there and Livramento is the one on the bench. And 49% of you have voted for him as the one I should bench. Then it's 21% saying Antonio, 19% Cancelo, and then 11% Rafinha. So that's a pretty interesting one. And yeah, just remember to vote in that. You know, if you join in just now, obviously thank you very much for tuning in. Smash the like button as well. It really helps out the channel. And of course, we can get more people in this chat. And then of course, more questions can be answered. Morning, Peter Peters in the USA. Antonio or Aspi? I probably would still go for Aspi, but that's a tough one because Antonio could do all right against Liverpool. Also, would you play Duffy before Livramento? Oof, that's a tough one. I think Southampton over the last 4 game weeks have the best expected goals conceded, and that obviously has kind of coincided with their easier fixtures. Duffy is facing Newcastle. I actually probably would go for Livramento, but it's a tough one. I think Aston Villa do have the quality, but right now they're looking really poor. And also, in terms of expected goals, Aston Villa are one of the worst in recent game weeks. Welcome Nabil, welcome Rock and Roll. And Anas says, I sold Antonio for Kane and captained him. Well, good luck. You still have time to change your decision, but to be fair, Kane could do really well this weekend. But I'm a bit concerned, obviously, even with an easy opposition, you could say, in Vitesse, in the Conference League. Kane had 0 shots, you know, on target, off target, blocked, whatever. 0 shots, which is absolutely incredible. Happy FPL deadline day. Thank you very much, Pratchett. If it's a good one, an actual happy one. Because, yeah, obviously, I'd say the last one was also good. But then it kind of went the wrong way. Who should I bench, Rafinha or Diaz? I probably would bench Diaz in that situation. But if it was Cancelo, now that would be interesting. I probably would still start Cancelo, but yeah, I'd go for Rafinha starting and benching Diaz. Welcome the Flying Dutchman, thank you for tuning in. And yeah, 1 month being a member, thank you so much. Same with Rock and Roll, really appreciate it. Which 2 should I play from Demarai Gray, Rafinha, Duffy and Livramento? Great question, Pratchett. I would play Rafinha and it's between Duffy and Livramento. I probably would go for Livramento, but Duffy's not a bad choice either. I think Demarai Gray would be the last one there. Start White or Hwang? It's a tough one once again. If you have Ramsdale already, then I would be tempted to go for Hwang. But otherwise, maybe White. I think he's more likely to get 6 points. But then again, Hwang's ceiling is arguably higher. Play 2 and bench 2. Antonio Jimenez, Livramento, Rafinha. That's tough, but once again, I would probably go for Antonio and Rafinha starting, if anything. But benching the other 2, I wouldn't be too happy about that. Wow, so many comments coming in. Thank you very much. Apologies if I'm a bit behind. What do I do with Aspi? Sell or hold? I think if you have a spare free transfer, I would transfer him out to Chilwell because, as I alluded to earlier, Marcos Alonso is out. He's confirmed out by Thomas Tuchel, so Chilwell is completely nailed for Game Week 11. Famous last words. But yeah, Chilwell should start, and I think he could be a good option for the next couple of weeks and months, potentially. Depends on the extent of Alonso's injury, of course. But yeah, if it's for a hit, that's a bit different, but I still think it's worth the move, potentially. I do expect Azpilicueta to start, though. Yeah, thank you very much, Rock and Roll. Very much appreciated. I'll try to get through as many questions as possible, as always. Will James start, or is there a chance Aspi comes in? Aspi can come in, but at the same time, James can start. Azpilicueta can slot in as one of the back 3. Christensen could drop out. or maybe Thiago Silva, but I think Chelsea need at least 2 players with height to deal with Burnley. So I think that Christensen, if he is benched, they'll still have Thiago Silva and Rudiger in there. But I think James and Azpilicueta can both start. But of course, if Aspi's playing as that right wing back, then there's no spot for James. But he's not going to be benched, I think. I have the exact same benching problem. I do as well, Josh. To be fair, I've kind of already, I'd say, decided on it, but I just put a poll out just to see what people say. And most people are going for Livramento, which is what I've done at the moment, but I'm not really too confident about that. I'm benching Cancelo and Diaz for Ben White. I would not bench Cancelo for Ben White. I know he got 3 assists in midweek, Cancelo, and it's not just because of that. I just think with Varane out for United, I think City could actually take advantage, and Cancelo can get those attacking returns and also maybe a clean sheet as well. Start one from Cancelo, Antonio, Livramento. It has to be between Antonio and Cancelo for me. I probably would start Cancelo actually, but it's a tough one. Welcome Ibrahim, and thank you to everyone else, by the way. Apologies if I haven't read out your name. FYI, the last time Antonio scored against Liverpool is 2019. Yeah, quite a while ago, but still, you never know, to be fair. But yeah, that's a good point. Hi, I like your content. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Much appreciated. Bench one, Antonio, Hwang, Rafinha. I would probably bench Hwang in there. Grealish is disappointing, and so has Gray. Yeah, they're 2 players that I'd be looking to get out if I had them in my team. And Grealish, I think it's kind of a tough one. Is it going to be him, or is it going to be Gundogan starting for City? That's what a lot of City fans are kind of debating at the moment, but the rest of the lineup is quite clear. But that's the kind of question mark there. Obviously, they're not competing for the same exact spot. Foden can play on the left wing. He can play as the false 9 as well. Welcome, Thomas. Thank you for tuning in. Who are must-haves for the next few weeks? I think one Spurs asset, probably Son. But that's obviously based on Son's history. He's had a good season so far, despite Spurs' struggles. And just in general, I think with the fixtures, it's definitely there for Spurs to attack. So I think Son is definitely one to look out for. From Gameweek 15 onwards, you have to say Ronaldo. Can he play every 2-3 days? Maybe not, but he's a really good option for those fixtures. But yeah, I think in the immediate short term, it has to be Son. Start Jimenez or Livramento? That's a really tough one, but I would probably go for Livramento, but I'm not too sure about that one, to be honest. I might actually change my mind. If I had that decision, I might be back and forth on that. Play Sarr or Gray? These are tough questions, aren't they? Let's actually have a look at the fixtures once again. I would probably go for Gray, but I'm not really feeling any of them this week. If you have Livramento, for example, on the bench, I'd probably play him instead. But yeah, that's what I would think, I think. Captain Vardy is a good option this week, but then again, Salah has an amazing record against West Ham. It's his favourite opponent alongside Watford, so it's a difficult week. I mean, it always is to go against Salah. Mount captain, not for me. Obviously, he's just recovered from an illness. I think he had teeth problems or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't captain him personally. Diaz or Jesus? Great question. I would probably start Jesus, to be fair. What about Son? He will shine in Conte's system. Yep, I mentioned him, and I've been talking about him for weeks now, even before Conte came in. He looked like a good asset under Nuno, and even more so now with Conte. What do you think about captaining Mbeumo? I talked about him in my preview. I put him 5th. Technically Tony. It was Tony and Mbeumo as the combination. Tony's my preference, but Mbeumo could be a nice differential captain. Personally, I wouldn't go there. I'd rather captain Vardy, Salah, and a few others, maybe like Aubameyang. Who to captain besides Salah, Kane or James? Chilwell, he should be nailed this week with Alonso out. And also Aubameyang, but obviously you might not have him as well. And another one to consider is Jamie Vardy for sure. What do you think of getting in Man United's fixtures Game Week 15 onwards? It's kind of a big debate at the moment, but the problem with that is that you've got Son as well and Kane. If you don't have one of them already, you're probably looking to get them in. Kane is probably the ideal player to get because he can be a placeholder for Ronaldo, so that's a difficult one. $100 for Tony captain? Nah, and either way, you can keep your money, mate, and spend it on something, but I'm not going to be captaining Tony. I think he could do really well, but I probably wouldn't go there. James captain, yep, or Chilwell. I think they're both even better assets right now, especially with Chilwell nailed. Mbeumo in, Havertz out. I wouldn't take Havertz out this week. Play Son or Havertz. Don't bench either of them, trust me, but I'd rather have Son in general. I'm considering taking out Vardy for Tony or Jimenez. Should I do it or just roll? I had another free transfer and bought in James for Aspi. Ooh, I would not take out Vardy this week. I know Tony's playing Norwich, but Vardy could do really well against Leeds. So personally, I wouldn't go there. Of course, it can go wrong either way, but I wouldn't do it. Vardy or Antonio to Tony? Normally, I'd say get rid of Vardy because Antonio has better stats across the whole season. He's significantly cheaper, offers better value. But what I would probably do is get rid of Antonio and then get him back in around game week 16 or 18. Is Jota nailed now to start? He should be. Firmino is out. I'm not sure for how long. He could be back after the international break, but a hamstring injury tends to be at least 3 weeks. So I think Jota should be fairly nailed to start now. Diaz out for James or Livramento. I'd say James, but Livramento is your kind of fifth defender. The guy you can rely on to come off the bench and do a good job. Yeah, Mount had an infection and was unable to eat as well. Lost some weight apparently. Unsure if he will start now. Wonder if I should still start him. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, and it's good that you added that information. I didn't mention it earlier, so thank you very much to Flying Dutchman. And honestly, it is a bit of a tricky situation. And ultimately, you can, if you have the money, just do an upgrade directly to Son, and you're kind of settled for the long term. I brought in Bruno for KDB and captained him. Oof. I haven't really heard much about Bruno nowadays in FPL, but of course he's still been doing really well, especially in UCL Fantasy. Will Christensen start, says Zoran. I was more confident a few days ago, but what I'm thinking that could happen is Azpilicueta plays as one of the centre-backs with Thiago Silva and Rudiger, and Christensen drops to the bench. Reece James as the right wing-back, and also we have Chilwell on the left. So he can start, but I think I'm not too confident about it. And if you're asking me now, I'd probably say no. I could be wrong though. Mount or Diaz, who should be benched? Normally I'd say start Mount because of the fixture. But of course, like the Flying Dutchman pointed out, there are a few concerns surrounding Mount. He did lose some weight recently. He couldn't eat because he had a tooth problem, a tooth infection. So that's a difficult one. But I'd still probably start Mount. Great stream as usual. Well and Dylan, thank you very much, Dian. Very much appreciated. Same with everyone else. Once again, apologies if I can't read out your question. I'll try to do my absolute best. Rafinha or Jimenez? I'd probably still say Rafinha, but maybe I'm being a bit foolish. Jimenez has been very good recently. Rafinha to Jota or Foden? I still prefer Foden, but of course Jota is nailed and I can see the appeal. Liverpool have the best attacking stats. Thoughts on Foden? I still think it's a really good option. Obviously, man of the match performance midweek. I'm a bit surprised Cancelo didn't get that. And of course, even against Palace, good performance despite the blank. So I think Foden is a really good option. White, Saka, Rafinha, Livramento, Cancelo. I need to bench two. That's a tough one. I probably would bench White and I'd say Livramento. You could maybe go with Saka, but yeah, that's what I'd do. Thoughts on Crystal Palace's recent form? I mean, it's no fluke. Over the course of the season, they're 7th best for expected goals conceded, and they've played the likes of Liverpool away, Manchester City away, Arsenal away, Chelsea away. They've pretty much had 4 of the toughest away games of the season out of the way. So Palace have been very impressive. I'm happy for Vieira, and they've got some nice young players coming through. So I think Palace are looking really good. From an FPL perspective, I'd maybe look at Gaeta as their goalkeeper, and then Gallagher in midfield. Other than that, though, you're looking at the strikers like Edouard and Benteke. They're not completely nailed. Obviously, Zaha's still a decent option, and on penalties, I believe. Then you look at, for example, yeah, it's a difficult one because Olise, I think, could be really good in a few weeks' time when he's nailed, but we have to wait for him to get those starts first. Bench Antonio or Gray? I'd bench Gray, honestly. Bench Hwang or Antonio? I'd bench Hwang. Hey Dylan, how are you, lad? Is this your final team? It is. I've made one free transfer, Diaz to James, very early on in the week. I'm talking about last Saturday. Very reactionary, and hopefully they can actually start paying off. Should I take a -4 hit to bring in Gallagher and play him instead of Antonio Ronaldo? I wouldn't do that. I'd probably just start Antonio or Ronaldo instead and avoid the hit, personally. Yassine says, bench Antonio, Diaz or Livramento? I probably would bench Diaz in this instance, but if it was Cancelo, because of the attacking threat and the bonus points he can get, I probably would bench Livramento, but in your case, Diaz. Broca versus Villa or Hwang versus Palace? I mean, you're putting a lot of pressure on me, Jet. Obviously, go with your gut. The thing is, I normally would actually go for Broca, but I'm not sure if he's going to start. He just came back from an injury. Armstrong looked impressive despite blanking, and Che Adams was very good. Obviously, he scored that goal, could have scored more. He was lively, he was involved. So I'm not sure if Broca actually starts. Hwang is more likely to start in this one. I think for the fixture, you have to say Broca, but he might not start, so just take that from that what you will. Gray or Livramento? I'd start Livramento, honestly. James or Tony captain? I would actually go for James. Bench boost, Foster, Duffy, Livramento, Rafinha. I can see why you'd want to, but I think there's going to be better opportunities later on in the season. If you wildcard into a bench boost double game week, I think you could get a lot of points. Of course, I might be wrong, and of course there's always different options to play your chips, but I probably wouldn't. Which two would you start? Antonio, Rafinha, Livramento, Townsend, Cancelo? I would start, that's tough, Cancelo, and I'd start Rafinha, but benching Antonio Livramento doesn't sit right with me. Gaeta versus Sanchez, that's a tough one. I think in terms of 4.5 million keepers, it has to be those two and Ramsdale. Ramsdale's still my favourite, but Sanchez and Gaeta, they're very similar. I think Brighton, I still trust them more defensively. I think they're a better team still, but Gaeta is not a bad option by any stretch of the imagination. They've got some good fixtures coming up. I'd still go for Sanchez, but I like Gaeta. Christensen to James for a hit. Tough one, but I probably would. I think it's worth it. Ramsdale, Sanchez, Ramsdale for me, Ilyas. Duffy or Cancelo? I would start Cancelo, but obviously Duffy's looking really good this week. Antonio Gabriel Jesus, I would go for Antonio just in general. For this week specifically, it's tough, but I'd still probably go for Mikel. Got Salah for nows. Yeah, I mean, never get rid of Salah, just in general. Thank you, rock and roll. Greenwood out for Rafinha or Son? I think long term is Son. It has to be Son. Rudiger to James. I already have Chilwell. I wouldn't actually do that personally. Obviously, James is going to offer you more attacking potential, but you don't have to get rid of Rudiger. And you've got that kind of nail defender plus the explosive one like Chilwell. Trossard or Zaha? If Trossard continues to play in that false 9 role, I have to say it has to be him. But Zaha is still a good option. Broja, first bench, potentially. Obviously, if he comes on for a 1 point, it's a bit jarring, as they say. Play Tony or Vardy. Don't bench either of them. Play both of them, trust me. Do not bench any of them. NK, answered your question already, mate. I went with Trossard. Sell Aspi or Diaz for Trent. I have to say Aspi because Diaz has some good fixtures coming up after the next 3, and also he's more nailed than Aspi at the moment. Davis plus save money or Broja as third bench option. If you can, I'd go for Broja. I think he could offer really good value, and when you need it, he can come off the bench and do well. But of course, you might have a case where you have 8 attackers, and also your squad depth is so good that you're going to have benching headaches every week. So it depends on what kind of system you want to implement, but I would probably go for Broja. Lipok says, Thoughts, Ramsdale, Trent, Reece, Cancelo, Rafinha, Salah, Mbumo, Smith Rowe, Foden, Hwang, Vardy, Antonio Livramento, Duffy. Really good team. I'd personally go for Antonio or Livramento over Hwang for this game week, but you might be onto something. Most people are benching Hwang, and that could be a mistake. It's a really good team, Lipok, and I think for this game week, at least on paper, it looks fantastic. Is Antonio to be replaced by Mope? I think Mope will probably outscore Antonio this week, but I don't think it's actually worth it in the long run. And Mope isn't actually starting, or at least Trossard can be in that false 9 role again, so I wouldn't do that. What game week is the double game week? We don't know that yet, Zoran. We will know more in the second half of the season. They tend to be. So, for example, Chelsea, they have the Club World Cup. They won the Champions League, so they're going to be playing that around January. And in that week, that conflicts with the Premier League, so that will then become a blank game week, and in the future, that will form a double game week. And of course, we don't know when that will exactly fall under, but of course, there will be updates across the season. When should I free hit? I would recommend using it during a blank or double game week. It depends if you want to be aggressive, use it during a double, and if not during a blank, it can help you navigate that game week without using your free transfers and hits to pretty much dead end your team into something, and then you have to wildcard out of it or make even further transfers to get out of that blank game week. So I think the free hit could be very well deployed there. Vardy to Son and Rafinha to forward around 8.3. That looks good, to be fair. I think that could be worth it. In terms of 8.3 strikers, though, still for me, around that price is Antonio, but you don't want to be bringing him in around this time. So honestly, I would keep what you have at the moment, and then in a few weeks' time, get Antonio in if you don't have him already, and then get Son. But yeah, otherwise, I'm looking at the other options. I'm not really too fond of the strikers, if I'm being honest. Firmino out, Jota in, yeah, pretty much. Or Firmino injured. Yeah, I think Jota's a good option now. Well, at least he's better than he was before. I still prefer Foden, but yeah, around 7.5 million, you have to say Jota's probably one of the better options now. Pinnock or Livramento? Livramento for me. In terms of who to start this week, obviously, based on the fixture, you have to say Pinnock, but I probably would go for Livramento. Antonio or Ben White? I would start Antonio, especially if you have Ramsdale. Bench Rafinha or Diaz? I'd bench Diaz. Pinnock or Saul? I'd start Pinnock. Bench free White, Livramento, Dennis, Antonio, Edouard. I'd bench Dennis, famous last words. I'd bench Edouard potentially, and I would also bench White, especially if you have Ramsdale once again. Hold and bench Antonio till the fixture swing. Yeah, I've been talking about this recently. There are two options. You either sell him now and then you bring him back in around game week 16 or 18, or you keep him and you bench him occasionally, like against Chelsea. But he could actually start against Liverpool. You can start him and he can do well. But I'm personally probably going to be keeping him because I just look at all the other strikers. Let me actually get some stats to back this up. But yeah, he's pretty much the best in class around his price, and even amongst forwards, he's still the best. So I'd still go for Mikel Antonio. Let's compare him to Jamie Vardy, for example, who is the second highest scoring FPL player amongst forwards. So in terms of goals, Vardy has one more. He's got 7 compared to Antonio's 6. But Antonio has 4 assists and Vardy only has 1. In terms of shots, 35 for Antonio, 24 for Vardy. And on target, pretty similar, 13 to 12. And then XG, this is what's incredible. Obviously, it has dropped off recently. But 5.95 XG for the whole season is incredible. Vardy's is 4.28, 3.83 expected assists. And also, if you compare Antonio to Jimenez from game week 7, he still has a better XG than the Mexican. So honestly, Antonio is still for me a hold. Obviously, recently he's been very disappointing, but a really good option nonetheless. Is Wilson a good option for Jesus? I think he's a decent option, but once again, Wilson's injury prone and I don't trust Newcastle, so I'd be, waiting and seeing first. Ramsdale or Mendy to start. I wouldn't bench either of them, to be honest, but I think Mendy's more likely to keep the clean sheet. But let's say if both of them blanked, they don't get the clean sheet. Ramsdale's more likely to get those save points and bonus. Pulisic or Ziyech. I actually recommended Ziyech for UCL Fantasy. I thought he could do well. He got the goal. But in FPL, I wouldn't go for either of them, to be honest. I would just go for their fullbacks, if anything, and Rudiger. Aspi or Diaz to Chilwell or James. I would do Aspi out. I think Diaz is more nailed and he's got better fixtures. And I'd go to Chilwell because Alonso's out. Obviously, he might not be out for that long, but Chilwell's definitely guaranteed to start this week. Have you heard if Firmino's definitely out for the weekend? He should be. He's got a hamstring issue and Klopp was talking about it. That's pretty much the only main concern Liverpool have at the moment. And by the way, thank you everyone for all the questions and comments. I'm trying to go through all of them as much as possible. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. It's very much appreciated. And of course, thank you very much for tuning in. We're around, an hour or so, before the deadline. So thank you very much, guys and girls. Kane and Reguilon for Vardy and Aspi. That looks good. But once again, with Reguilon and Spurs, and obviously I'm not just saying this after them conceding 2 goals the other day, I'm still very, very hesitant about Spurs' defence. And Reguilon, I would rather wait and see. And also with Kane, he had 0 shots, at all. On target, off target, whatever, against Vitesse. So I'm not really too keen at the moment. But I think Kane could be a good long-term pick. Reguilon, let's wait and see. He could now start being, what Alonso was for Conte a few years ago. But I probably would wait. And with Vardy facing Leeds, I wouldn't get rid of him this week. Obviously, Kane could do really well against Everton. He loves playing against the Toffees. As for Azpilicueta, if you can, I would just go Azpilicueta to Chilwell or James, honestly. Duffy or Livramento? I would start Livramento, but of course, Duffy does have the better fixture on paper. Should I keep Jimenez? I think he could do alright this week, but long term, I'd rather just get rid of him. Obviously, he's got some good fixtures coming up, but from 14 onwards, very poor. Is Pulisic a good choice? Not in my opinion, because he's injury prone. And also with Chelsea, they can have so many different options to score, and Pulisic isn't actually nailed. Like the channel, guys. Thank you very much, Thomas. Very much appreciated. Transfer out Jimenez or Antonio? I'd rather transfer out Jimenez. Maybe this week it makes more sense to get rid of Antonio, and for the next 3 or 4, Wolves have better fixtures, but I think long-term Antonio's a better pick. What do you think about 5 at the back as differentials? Cancelo, Trent, James, Chilwell, Livramento? It's not the worst idea in the world, to be honest, and Livramento, a great enabler there. But I would rather have, similar to what I have at the moment, so pretty much 4 options. What am I even talking about? It's pretty much what I have. So I think it might be a bit too much. And that's something I've been thinking about, looking at my team. I think I might invest too much in my defence, and that affects my midfield, my ability to get Son. But still, I think it's a good back 5, and it is a differential in a way. So it's a good option, but you're very heavily reliant on attacking returns from defenders and clean sheets. And obviously, you're investing in some of the best defences in the world there. But it is risky, of course. And maybe what you could do is downgrade one of those defenders and then have the rest the same. Bench, Diaz, Livramento, Gray or Antonio? Gray for me, for sure. Any questions about Ziyech? Pretty much, obviously, I recommended him in UCL Fantasy, but in FPL, no, I wouldn't go there. Kane, Antonio, Dennis, or Kane, Tony Hwang? I prefer Kane, Tony Hwang, to be fair. But yeah, obviously Antonio is a really good player in the long term. Hello Dylan, what's the plan and how are you doing? It's the same as before. I made one transfer, Diaz to James, and that's pretty much it. Will Chalobah start this week? That's another good point. He could be another one to start. I don't believe he did in the Champions League. So yeah, just getting rid of the spammers. Okay. Who to start, Benrahma or Rafinha? Rafinha for me. And yeah, as for the question of Chalobah starting, I don't think he will. But then again, if you look at the Champions League, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did start. Should I start in Mbeumo or Rafinha? I wouldn't bench either of them, but I'd probably start in Mbeumo. Never used 5 at the back before, first time. Fair enough. I think it's very risky, of course. Once again, you're relying a lot on the clean sheets. Would you go Jimenez or Antonio to start? That's a really tough one, to be fair. I probably would start Jimenez in that case, but yeah. Southampton or Tottenham to keep a clean sheet? Southampton for me. I think Everton could score 1 or 2, but Spurs will probably score a few themselves. Yeah, Manny, I answered your question already. I went with Gray. Thoughts on Aubameyang captain? I talked about this in my preview. I put him third, I believe, in the top 5 captaincy options. I think he could be the ultimate differential captain this week. But once again, Aubameyang hasn't really been as consistent or as explosive as he was in seasons gone by. Hey Dylan, nice to see the face reveal. Thank you very much, Diombre. Should I sell Antonio for Tony, start Antonio or bench Antonio for Livramento? All of them are good options, to be fair. But I think in your situation, it does make sense to get rid of Antonio for Tony and then in game week 16-18, get Antonio back. Of course, you might lose a bit of value there, but I think it's actually a good option. You should make a Discord if people want to help each other. Fair enough. I'm actually considering that, and other people like Rock and Roll have suggested that as well. So I think, yeah, I'll probably, in the coming days, obviously we have an international break, that actually could be on the cards. Might make a Discord, and of course, I'll put the links in the socials, maybe on Twitter, also on YouTube, in the community posts, and also I'll mention it in future videos. Chilwell in for Diaz or Son in for Rafinha? Both really good choices. That's a really tough one, mate. Because I think Rafinha could do really well this week, and he's good for the next few, in my opinion. But I think Son long term is just a really good choice under Conte. But then again, Chilwell could be nailed for several weeks and months with Alonso out. But Diaz isn't the worst player to keep. So honestly, I'd probably go Rafinha to Son. Benrahma or Gray? I'd rather start Benrahma, but then again, I'm not really too confident in either of them. Play and bench in order: Duffy, Tomiyasu, Cancelo, Antonio, Brownhill. I would definitely start Cancelo and Antonio, and then it'd be Duffy, then Tomiyasu, and then Brownhill. A -4 hit from Ronaldo to Kane? I probably wouldn't. I'd wait and see how Kane and Spurs do against Everton, and Ronaldo could still do alright against City, to be fair. James or Chilwell captain? That's a really tough one. Obviously, in the last 2 weeks, James has outscored Chilwell, but I probably would go for Chilwell. And I talked about this once again in my top 5 captaincy choices in my preview. Would you keep Vardy and Antonio or take a -4 to bring in Kane and Tony? They're all good choices, and there's no right or wrong there. For this week, I wouldn't take a -4 because Vardy could do really well against Leeds, in my opinion, and Antonio could still get an attack in return against Liverpool. But I think ultimately you could actually just make one transfer. I think Antonio to Tony makes sense. You don't have to do Vardy to Kane this week. Just wait and see with Kane and Spurs. Once again, he had 0 shots in Conte's first game. Thoughts on Lucas Moura? He's 6.4 million and his ownership I think is around 0.7%. So he could be an amazing differential, but still for me it's Son or Kane. Those are the main ones, and then maybe a Spurs defender like Emerson Royale or Reguilon. Thomas with Havertz and not very pleasant emojis. I still think Havertz could do alright this week. Do you think Mount will start? Based on the comments by Too Short, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Maybe not, if you had to ask me there, but I might be wrong. Bench Antonio, King or Greenwood? I would bench King, to be fair, or Greenwood, but I think Greenwood could actually do alright against City. But then again, he's not been starting as he was recently. Obviously against Spurs he didn't. He was on the bench. Vardy captain, yep. I mean, he was second in my captaincy list. And if you want to go differential or at least go against Salah, this isn't the worst week to do it. But Salah has a great record against West Ham. He scored 9 times against the Hammers. Marcus Alonso just picked up an ankle injury. He's out. Yeah, I'm a bit lucky there. I just got Chilwell in last week. And obviously I've got James in. So A bit fortunate there. Yeah, Chilwell captain. I am considering at least vice captaining him. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. They can keep a clean sheet against Burnley. And I think last season, in this exact same fixture, it was Alonso who started and he got a mega haul. I'm not sure exactly how many points, but he got double digits. And Chilwell could do something similar. You think Hudson-Odoi will start? Great question, Messi. I'm not too sure. It ultimately depends on Mount. Is he going to start? And obviously with the comments Tuchel was making, I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, I think there's a possibility this week actually. I wouldn't go for him though. Hello Dylan, should I keep Grealish or switch to Jota or Gundogan? I wouldn't go to Gundogan. If anything, go to Foden. But if not, Jota's a really good option. I bench Jimenez or Antonio or Benrahma. I'd bench Benrahma. Will Tierney start? I think he could replace Cancelo. He's actually been training, I think, since yesterday, so there is a chance of him starting, but Tavares has been very impressive for Arsenal, and it'd be very harsh for him to be dropped. I wouldn't start him over Cancelo, and I definitely wouldn't be getting rid of Cancelo for Tierney. City still have a much better defence than Arsenal, and you can cover the Gunners with Ramsdale. Ask me to Chilwell, yeah, I would do that, Aidan, and it's something similar that I've done in recent weeks. I captained Vardy when Salah played Manchester United, won't quickly go against them again. Yeah. Sometimes these things happen though, and you can't always captain the right person unless you always captain Salah, but he will blank eventually. Start Sarr, Gray or Livramento? I would start Livramento. Do you think Broja will start today? I'm not too sure. I think not, because he's just come back from an injury and the two strikers, Armstrong and Che Adams, played well. Who would you trade in defence to upgrade the Everton midfield? That's a great question. I just brought in James and Chilwell, but I don't want to get rid of Cancelo or Trent either. So honestly, I'm actually happy with my defence. And if anything, I'll downgrade Vardy or Antonio to then maybe get Townsend up to Son. But if not, Townsend can become Smith Rowe or another player around that price like Mbumo, and then Rafinha or Foden become Son. So of course I'll be thinking about this over the coming weeks. I only have one free transfer heading into Game Week 12, which isn't ideal of course. We do have an international break. Douglas Luiz is out with a hamstring issue, I believe, so it's not really the ideal situation. I'm going to end this poll, by the way, but thank you very much to everyone who's been voting. I might put another one out. If you have any ideas for any polls, let me know. Gordon's Tube says, De Bruyne or Hwang, who should I start? I'd probably still start De Bruyne, but ultimately I would be getting rid of the Belgian. I'd rather have Foden, Salah of course, I'm guessing you have him already, and Heung-min Son. Start Livramento or Hwang? I'd start Livramento. Firmino is injured. Jota's a good option. I believe so, Alvaro, and it's actually a really good way of differentiating yourself from the rest of the pack. Most people will have Trent and Salah, as well as captain, but you're going to have Jota in there as well. And if you look at the Champions League midweek, he was really good, looked very lively, and Salah blanked in that game, and Jota got the points. Who would you rather captain, Reece James or Tony? That's a good question. Probably Reece James based on what we've seen so far this season, but Tony has the better fixture. The chat is buzzing. Great to see that, Dylan. Thank you very much. Sing, very much appreciated. Who to start, Livramento, White or Rafinha? Oh my god, that's really tough. I would probably start Rafinha, but they're all good options. Start Grealish or Townsend? Oh, these are tough questions, man. I probably would start Grealish. I think with United not having Varane, I think they could be got at. But once again, is Grealish going to start? Who knows? And as for the poll, 42% of you said Livramento should be benched. 31% with Antonio, 15% with Cancelo, and 10% went for Rafinha. So Cancelo was actually up there. But then most people voted for Antonio and Livramento in the end. So thank you very much. 498 people voted. Wow. We must have a lot of people in the chat. I haven't actually checked yet, but obviously very much appreciated. And I'll try to get through any questions and comments. So try to be patient. Thank you. Nearly 200 people watching. Massively appreciated. Livramento or Rafinha? I'd start Rafinha in that case. Should I transfer Vardy out for Jesus and use the money to bring in Reece James? I wouldn't do that. I would rather have Vardy over Jesus. But I can see why you'd want to do that, of course. Can you do a poll on captaincy options like Son, Mbumo, Tony, Vardy and Salah? I might remove Salah from the equation, but then again, maybe this is not going to be a week where most people go for Salah anyway, so that's a good idea for a poll. Thank you very much. Tony for Antonio. Yeah, I think if you don't have Tony and Antonio to Tony is like the most logical move you can make, then I would do it. Start Gallagher or Rafinha? I'd go for Rafinha. Hola amigo, Gallagher or Smith Rowe? Smith Rowe para mí. Por lo menos esta semana lo pondría en mi equipo, pero no sé. Más allá de eso, eso es algo que estoy pensando para mi equipo. Puede ser Gallagher o Smith Rowe, pero en este momento yo diría Smith Rowe también. Rafinha or Gallagher? Rafinha for me this week. Ronaldo to Kane for a -4. I wouldn't do that. Just wait and see with Spurs assets, I think. Any reason for Antonio choice? I think that Liverpool were very, very suspect against Brighton. And I think West Ham, they're third in the table. They're currently the third or fourth best in the league. I think they can actually cause Liverpool some problems. So, yeah, that's why I'm going to be playing him, to be fair. I bench Jimenez or Antonio Benrahma. Benrahma for me. With Hanley injured, Tony has to be the best bet for captaincy. Thoughts, Dylan? That's a good point. Norwich have even more issues at the back, more injuries. That's a really good suggestion there, John, or a fact, should I say. But yeah, as for Tony, I don't think he's the best. He hasn't shown enough this season, but I think this is where he's going to finally do really well. Hopefully some double digits. Bench 1, Rodrigo, Aspi or Livramento? I'd bench Rodrigo, but yeah, it's a tough one there. Duffy and Dunk duo for the upcoming weeks is a really good duo. But honestly, Duffy is probably going to lose his spot, especially when Dan Burn comes back. And also Veltman could take his place. So I just go for one Brighton defender. And any team that I double up on in defence is just Chelsea or City. Will Armstrong play? I think so. Based on his performance. I could be wrong. Brock is back in contention, but I think he will. Yeah, Kazmi, I answered your question already. Is it enough to have Mbumo and not go for Tony for Antonio, Dylan? It is enough. I would rather have Tony, but that doesn't mean I'm right about that. I could be completely wrong. Mbumo's been getting into better positions. If you compare Mbumo and Tony's stats like I did the other day in the preview, they're very similar, especially in terms of XG and shots. I think in shots on target, Tony had nearly double, but both really good options. Tony has more assist threat as well, but I think Tony is more likely to get bonus points, especially if he does score. As I said, Lewandowski got his hat-trick, Dylan. Melvin, you're actually a wizard or something. Jesus Christ. You said that about Salah and Lewandowski. Wow. Hopefully you say something like that for Arsenal Argentina and we benefit from that. And by the way, obviously this is kind of non-related to FPL. I'll still be going through your questions, so apologies if I haven't answered yet. According to certain reports, the winner of the Ballon d'Or is confirmed. Who do you think is the winner? Are you Spanish? No. My family's from Argentina, but I am also British, you could say. I want to get Tony in, so should I get rid of Antonio, Jimenez or Vardy? I can see why. I probably would get rid of Antonio in your situation. Long term, I'd rather have Antonio over the other two, especially Jimenez. But I think what you could do is Antonio to Tony, and then in game week 16-18, or maybe even earlier, get Antonio in for Jimenez. But if not, if you want to save that transfer, just get rid of Jimenez. Who to start? Ben White, Cancelo, Livramento. I would start Cancelo. Hi Dylan, I got one free transfer. Should I keep it or take out Azpilicueta for Chilwell? I would actually do Azpilicueta to Chilwell, especially with the news that Alonso is out. Messi probably. Yeah, that's a good guess, fine Dutchman. But obviously it could be wrong. Let's see. Should I play Bowen or Son? I play Son, but Bowen's been very impressive recently. Mount to Jota or roll the transfer to get Son next game week? Yep, roll the transfer and get Son next game week, mate. Veltman or Livramento? Livramento for me. Yeah, good to see you here, Goldhead and Rock and Roll. Messi, says Lipuk. Yep. Yeah, more people were saying Messi. And that's actually another good idea for a poll, but obviously I won't do it in this stream because a lot of people actually want FPL answers and questions. Messi for sure, but I'm seeing a lot of people saying he doesn't deserve it now because he's got 0 goals in 5 league games and stuff. But yeah, I think Lewandowski individually had an amazing season as well, but I don't know. I think obviously this season so far he has been killing it. That's why he is one of the favourites now. I think in terms of the bookies' favourites, he is actually ahead of Messi. Muchas gracias, amigo. De nada, Martin. Gracias. Captaincy poll, Dylan. Yep, let's do that right now. And then I'll get back to answering your questions. We still have an hour left, so there's no rush. If I haven't answered your question already, you can just put it in the chat again one more time. But don't spam the chat. That's all I ask for. So, who is the best captain? That's a great idea for a poll. More people have suggested it. So, Let's see. Salah. What a surprise. Maybe I shouldn't actually add him here. I think Tony has to be a shout here. Let's put Vardy, Tony, and yeah, I'd say Son or Kane maybe. But if not, maybe let's go for a Chilwell or something. I mean, I want to see how many people would go for a Chilwell or a James. That'd actually be pretty funny. So, who is the best captain for Game Week 11? I'll just put his best captain. Salah, Vardy, Tony, and Chilwell or James. Yep, there you go. Is it risky to start Mason Mount? It is slightly, but then again, it's risky to bench him. But of course, he's just come back and he's actually lost a bit of weight recently, so that is a bit concerning. Bench Antonio Smith-Rowe. Oh my god. I think both of them could do well. I probably would start Smith-Rowe, but that's tough. Salah ruined FPL in a way because the captaincy is the main thing. Look, he's already got 67% of the vote. Jesus Christ. And by the way, you guys are really quick. 58 people have voted already. Oh, that's really good. Messi to do a sue after accepting the reward. I don't think he's that type of person, to be fair. But yeah, that would be funny. I mean, he's got in the name, Messi. But yeah, maybe dead jokes. Anyway, play Cancelo or Duffy. I would play Cancelo, honestly. Should I transfer Varney to Jesus and use the money to get Reece James in? Yeah, I answered this question already, Arnav, and I wouldn't do it personally. I'd find another way because I'd rather have Vardy over Gabriel Jesus. Do Aubameyang? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Yeah, Aubameyang's a really good option this week. He's even finished third. I think he'd actually be... Yeah, maybe he'd have more votes than Vardy, but I don't know how many people actually own Aubameyang. But yeah, that's a really good... You see, I knew it. Like, I'm forgetting somebody here. Thank you very much for that. Bench Antonio, King or Greenwood. I'd start Antonio, and it's between the other two. I probably would bench King, but I don't know. Maybe King's going to score against Arsenal. Mbumo or Saka. I'd still rather have Mbumo, but of course Saka has been better this season. Smith-Rowe, Saka or Trossard, just for this week. Oh, I think Trossard, but they're all good options. And I'd be tempted by Smith-Rowe as well. Will Aspie start? I think so. Gallagher in, Traore out. Good transfer? I think it's a good transfer. And if not, you can go for Smith-Rowe, but one of those two for sure. Start Gallagher or Hwang? Great question. I probably would go for... I'd actually go for Hwang, but that might be a bit of a dumb one. Cancelo for James. It's not a bad option, but if you already have Chilwell or Rudiger, I'd just probably keep Cancelo. Bailey or Ronaldo? Yeah, I'd say Ronaldo. Eres fluido en español, Dylan. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do speak in Spanish. Speak Spanish at home, but yeah, my English is better, I have to say. Will Aspie start? Yes, I think so, mate. No need to repeat the question. Should I play Broca or Rafinha? I'd play Rafinha. I have Aspie and Malpai. Should I take out Aspie or for Chilwell or Malpai for Tony? Great questions. I probably would do Malpai to Tony. It's a tough one because if Malpai starts, he has a great record against Newcastle. But if Trossard plays in that false nine, there's not really a space for him there. It's a tough one though. I think Aspie to Chilwell is a good move in general. Yeah, I'd do Malpai to Tony. Captain Salah or Tony? I'm going for Salah, and 73% of you in the chat also doing the same thing. Chilwell or James is actually second with 12%, 10% going for Tony, and 6% for Vardy. He could be a really good differential captaincy. Start Semedo or Livramento? I'd start Livramento, actually. Midfielder under 7 million? Great question. Zaha's a decent one, but I would rather have Smith-Rowe or Mbumo or Gallagher. One of those three, I think. And I'm trying to think. Rafinha's still a good choice. Those would be my top four. And of course, when the fixtures turn, Jarrod Bowen for sure. Is it crazy to start Gallagher over Cancelo? I don't think so. I'd honestly go for Cancelo, but it's not a bad decision, I think. Hwang or Antonio to start? I'd actually rather start Antonio. Mbumo or Gallagher for Townsend? I would not get rid of... oh yeah, you're getting them in. I mean, Mbumo could just get you those instant returns, you know, facing Norwich and some pretty poor opposition after. So I'd probably say him. But I think from now up until the rest of the season, I'd rather go for Gallagher. Semedo or Livramento? Livramento for me. You really have faith in Antonio. He's playing Liverpool, though. Yeah, that's true. Look, if I had, for example, I don't know, just think of someone actually like good with a good fixture, but I would be tempted to actually drop Antonio. And I've thought about it, you know, for Livramento in my case, but Yeah, I just think that Antonio could do well against Liverpool. But of course, this could be a week to back against him. What's his ownership now? He was 50%. Yeah, he's still 47% owned. So this could be a good time to get off him in general and to bench him. So yeah, maybe I'm showing too much faith, to be fair. But Dylan, Vardy's been blanking for so long. Well, it's only 2 games, to be fair. And also, we have to put into context. Against Brentford, he had an injury before the game even started. That's very unfortunate. And then he got subbed off at half-time. Against Arsenal, Ramsdale had the game of his life. Vardy only had 1 big chance, and Leicester in general were awful. So I think with easier fixtures coming up, not Chelsea, of course, but after that, facing Watford, also facing Leeds this week, he could do really well. Smith Rowe, Gallagher for the... Whoa! Voice crack. Smith Rowe or Gallagher for the long run? Great question. I would be tempted to say Gallagher, but I don't know. At this moment in time, Smith Rowe's looking so good. It's a tough one. Gallagher, obviously, with that amazing haul against City, it's kind of changed people's mind. But still, let's remember, he had really good underlying stats, really good numbers in his first few game weeks. They have still dropped. I don't know. I think if I'm talking about up until the end of the season, I'd say Gallagher. But for the time being, for the next 5 to 10, I'd have to say Smith Rowe. Bench 2 out of Antonio, Rafinha, Cancelo, and Livramento. I'd say Livramento and maybe Antonio in this case. Start Rafinha or Livramento. Rafinha for me. Best midfielder under 6 million. Yeah, once again, it's the same names as before. Smith Rowe, Mbeumo, Gallagher. Those are the sorts of options I look at. And at the moment, it's looking like Smith Rowe. But I think Mbeumo with those fixtures and his combination with Tony could be really good. And also facing, a depleted Norwich City. Maupay still injured. I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. But Trossard as a false 9, I think that's what's going to happen against Newcastle. If Maupay's fit, I think with his record against Newcastle in mind, of course, he could be really good. Smith Rowe and Mbeumo. At the moment, based on form, you have to say Smith Rowe, but I think the fixture is definitely Mbeumo, no doubt about it. And also, Smith Rowe does face Liverpool soon. Start Antonio or Livramento or Duffy. I'd start Antonio, but maybe I'm showing too much faith. If you're not really backing him, go for Livramento for me. Mitchell or a Brentford defender. If Brentford defender, then who? I probably would still say Brentford defender, and I'd say Janssen, but obviously they look really poor against Burnley. Kane or Son? I still would go for Son. Kane had 0 shots in Conte's first game. He's been lacklustre all season. Only 1 good performance, and that was against Newcastle, and Son still scored in that game. It has to be Son for me. But of course, that could change. Thoughts on Lamptey? Obviously, he's in really good offensive positions. He's looking good, but still wait and see. And with Lamptey, he's always breaking down. I think I had him in one of my first drafts of the season, and then, he got injured before the season even started. So obviously, really good player if he actually can stay fit, but that's his problem. Mbeumo versus Norwich or Rafinha versus Leicester? I'd probably say Mbeumo in that case. Vardy and Antonio out for Kane, Antonio with 2 free transfers. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Obviously, Vardy could do really well this week, bear that in mind, but that's still a good option, to be fair. Grealish to Saka for a -4. I wouldn't do that personally. But if Grealish doesn't start, then maybe you're justified in doing that. And Saka is looking good. I literally just got rid of Saka for Foden for a -4. Captain Chilwell or James? I probably would go for Chilwell. Oh my god, we've got another comment. You look quite like Mount. Thank you very much. I mean, I look like Werner, Marco Reus, Mason Mount, De Gea. I've gotten all of this, from friends, family, and from the YouTube community as well. Mount to Smith Rowe. I think if Mount starts, obviously he could outscore Smith Rowe, but I think that's a good move, and then that could give you enough money to go to Son. Bench Rafinha or Antonio? I probably would bench Antonio in that case. Picking between Livramento and Antonio for a bench is a tough call. Yeah, if you look at the stats for the whole season, it's difficult to bench Antonio, but then if you look at Southampton's defensive stats recently and Aston Villa's attacking and overall stats, you have to say Livramento could actually be the one to start, but it's a difficult one. Start Livramento, Benrahma or Gray? I'd start Livramento for sure in that case. Yep, so many benching headaches in general. It's actually just crazy. That's why I should probably title the video. 2 free transfers, Antonio to Tony and Benrahma to Smith Rowe. Those look good, to be honest. And in your situation, I do the exact same. I'd say have a plan to get Antonio back in around game week 16 or 18. Smith Rowe, Saka or Gallagher? If I had to rank them currently, it'd be Smith Rowe, Gallagher, then Saka. But for the rest of the season, you'd argue that Gallagher's the better one. Start Rafinha or Cancelo? I would probably say Rafinha, but that's a really tough one. Foden, captain, your opinion? Obviously, United have one of the worst defences, especially in recent weeks, but I probably wouldn't. But of course, having Foden's not a bad thing. But in terms of the captaincy, that's a bit of a different story. Start Gallagher or Mount? Normally I'd say Mount, but because of the comments by Tuchel, I'm not too sure about that, and I might actually say bench Mount, but that's a 50-50 one. Normally I'd just risk it and go for Mount. Antonio bench for Ben White. I would start Antonio over him, especially if you have Ramsdale. A double Arsenal defence, that never fills me with confidence. Will Aspie start, and which two? Aspie to Chilwell or Townsend to Mbumo? Great question, Genius Gamer. I think Aspie will start, so you can afford to wait another week. But obviously Chilwell's looking really good. He's nailed now. Alonso's out. I will do Townsend to Mbumo. And yeah, he could do really well this week. Bench, well, I just literally lost the message. Apologies for that. Bench Benrahma or Sarr? I would probably bench Sarr, but if you already have Antonio, then you could just arguably, bench Benrahma there. Start Rafinha or Antonio? I would probably start Rafinha in that case. It's fun hearing you keep it up. Yeah, you look more like Werner than Mount. Yeah, I can see why people say that. And even in the 2018 World Cup, people were like, yeah, you look like this guy. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Start Smith Rowe and Mbumo. I wouldn't bench either of them, mate. I'd start both. But if I had to pick, I would probably go for Mbumo. But I wouldn't bench either. Start Aspie or Mbumo. Oh, no. Don't bench either of them, mate. Trust me. I'd rather bench an Antonio in that case, or even a Cancelo potentially. Trossard or Townsend? Trossard for me, for sure. Hi, Dylan. Firmino's out for how many weeks? Thanks, mate. It's not confirmed at the moment, but if it's a hamstring issue, well, it is a hamstring issue, he could be out for 2 to 3 weeks minimum. Of course, we've got an international break, so what that means in FPL is 1 game week at the very least. So he's going to be out this weekend. Is he going to be out in game week 12? I'm not too sure. No one knows yet. We'll get more, obviously, scans and stuff, and then Klopp will then tell the press. But yeah, he could be out, I'd say, for 2 to 3 game weeks, maybe even more. Hi, would you bench boost this week if you had Foster, Vardy, Livramento and Cancelo on your bench? Vardy on your bench? Then I'd be tempted. I mean, who do you have in your starting lineup to be able to afford to bench Vardy? But that is I'd say, boostable team, but I'd rather use it in a double game week, especially when you wildcard into that. And I'd just start Vardy and don't bench Vardy in any scenario. Is it worth doing Sarr to Jota for shorter term or downgrade to Smith Rowe and Mbumo to be able to afford Son in the future? I think looking long term, Michael, I would wait and then get Son in. So I'd downgrade if anything. Trying to get through any questions I missed. Apologies, there's a lot of questions today. Obviously, thank you very much. Hi mate, I hope you're feeling well. Benching Livramento and Antonio this game week, says Marco. I'm thinking of Antonio to Tony with free transfer. Right now I'm thinking I'll bench and roll. Yeah, I can see why you want to do that, but if you don't have Tony, I think it makes sense to do Antonio to Tony and then get Antonio back in a few game weeks. That's what I would do in your situation. Start Cancelo or White? Cancelo for me. Who to play? White, Cancelo, Livramento. Cancelo for me, if not Livramento. Brought in Smith Rowe for Gray, says Dr. Domino. Benched Rafinha, Hwang and Livramento. Play bench boost? Yeah, that transfer's really good. I think that makes sense. I wish I had, enough free transfers to do that and get Smith Rowe for Townsend. Ooh, yeah, that bench is looking good. I would still probably not play it myself, but it is a good looking bench. Start Benrahma or Sarr? Benrahma. And also Sarr or Livramento? Yeah, Livramento. And Livramento over Benrahma as well. Choose 2 for the first 11. Mbumo, Livramento, Rafinha, Antonio. It has to be Mbumo and either Livramento or Rafinha. I'd probably go for Rafinha. Well, I say Livramento, but I've actually got Antonio starting over him. So yeah, obviously it's really uncomfortable benching any of these players, but Mbumo or Rafinha for you, Perky. Captain Tony or Mbumo? Tony for me. Not even a little tempted for James Captain. Yeah, and Chilwell too. He should be starting. Put your question forward again. I didn't see it, mate. Apologies. Score prediction for Arsenal versus Watford? Great question. I think maybe 3-1, 2-0, something like that. Thank you very much for the super chat, Domba. Much appreciated. Could you please do a wildcard video for Game Week 12 next week? Yep. I mean, we've got the international break, so there's plenty of time for content, and I'll also be yeah, I'll put polls out and also some posts asking you lot for any kind of videos you want to see. So yeah, I could also rate your teams. I haven't done that in a little while. I'd like to do that every few game weeks or so to kind of keep it fresh. And then do other stuff, obviously the normal preview, team selection, the deadline stream, reaction stream, looking to do all that. So yeah, thank you very much, Domba, for the super chat. You didn't have to, much appreciated. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Galactic Hobbit for the little plug. And yeah, as he says, give it a like if you haven't already. It costs nothing and it helps me out very much, and also the channel and the community. So thank you very much to everyone. Play Mbumo over Rafinha or Gallagher? Gallagher for me. I'd start Rafinha and Mbumo. Antonio or Son? Yeah, Son this week, yeah. Matija says Jota or Rafinha. In terms of starting this week, that's a tough one. I'd probably still go for Rafinha, but Jota could be really good, and I'd rather have Jota at this moment in time than Rafinha for the long term. Why Antonio and you're playing 11? Why not Livramento? Because I think West Ham can cause Liverpool some problems. But yeah, I have thought about it. I'm not really too confident or comfortable with benching Livramento. Captain Son or Salah? Salah for me. Diaz to James and bench Antonio, says Sandeep. Yeah, I'd do that in your situation. But Diaz is still a good option. Start Rico Henry or Livramento? Based on the fixture, you have to say Rico Henry, but I would actually go for Livramento. Let's see. Who should I bench? Mbumo or Duffy? Duffy. Do you think Chalobah will play in this round? Based on the Champions League, you'd have to say there's a good chance he starts, but then again, you know, who knows what Tuchel's going to do? Could it be Aspie as a centre-back with Thiago Silva and Christensen or Rudiger? I think Rudiger's the most nailed, so it's kind of a question of who the other two centre-backs will be. So honestly, I think there's a good chance, but I'm not too sure. Do you go with Chilwell or Salah for captain? Salah, but I am tempted by Chilwell, if I'm being honest. Thank you, Perky. Start Tierney or Livramento? I would honestly start Livramento, especially if you have Ramsdale already. Thank you, Rock and Roll. Let's see. So let's. Oh, apologies. There's so many questions. Start Rico Henry or Livramento? Yeah, I said that. No. Livramento. Sell CR7 or not? It depends who you sell him for, because ultimately, if it's not for Vardy or Kane, I think you can just keep him at this point. You want to have him from Game Week 15 onwards. I don't want to captain Salah, so who's better from Tony and Mbumo, Vardy, Chilwell, James? For me, Vardy. But if you're not feeling him, I'd say Chilwell or Tony. All good options. Will Aspie play? I just confirmed Laporte to Chilwell. I think Aspie will play, but once again, I could be completely wrong. Thoughts on a -4 after the deadline? Vardy to Kane, Diaz to Trent, Jimenez to Hwang. They all look good, but once again, like I talked about in my preview, Bruno Lage wasn't really filling me with confidence surrounding Hwang. He basically said Jimenez is nailed, at least, you know, when he doesn't have kind of conflicts with Mexico. But Hwang and the other kind of forwards, they're going to be based on the opposition, the profile of the opposition, so they can drop in and out of the side. But I like the transfers. I think they're all good. Obviously, let's wait and see if Kane actually gets into some form, but good transfers, I think. Yeah, Matija, I already answered your question, mate. No need to spam the chat. Let me try and get through the questions of people who haven't answered. If Tony blanks versus Norwich, I feel people may look to get rid. Yeah, I know he has good fixtures, but with little returns lately, I think I may give it a miss for now at least. Yeah, fair enough. And I think Antonio's just a better option in general. So I can completely understand your logic there. Should I keep Grealish or get Foden for a -4? Or Jota? I would go for Foden, but Jota's also a really good pick. I have Vardy and Antonio right now with 2 free transfers. Should I get Kane and Tony for the pair of them, or do those moves after the international break? I would do Antonio to Tony, and then after the international break, you have 2 free transfers, and you can also see how Kane's doing, and then you can do Vardy to Kane. So that's what I would do in your situation. I have Tony starting. Should I bench Cancelo for Mbumo? Oh, that's a tough one. I wouldn't want to bench either, but I would start Mbumo. Benching anyone against Norwich. I brought in Broca, but I'm worried he'll only play a few minutes for a 1-pointer. Duffy instead. Yeah, I'd start Duffy instead, mate. Yeah, definitely. Jesus or Mount? I'd say Mount just in case he starts, but he might not based on what Tuchel said. Livramento or Gallagher? Livramento. Chilwell or Rudiger? Chilwell, but Rudiger's a really good choice. Just took out Jota last week. Bring him back? Potentially, but if not, you don't have to do it this week. West Ham's a tough fixture. Triple up on Chelsea defence. James, Chilwell and Rudiger, all good options. But if I'm being completely honest, I would rather just go for 2 rather than the triple up. But of course, they're keeping so many clean sheets. Yeah, Undying Mafia answered your question already, mate. Let's see. Start one from Cancelo, Livramento, Nacho. Cancelo for me. Say Maximan or Diaz or Gray bench. Gray. Have 2 free transfers. I wanted to use one. Should do Armstrong to Tony or Roll. I would do Armstrong to Tony. Ben White or Livramento to start. Livramento. Freddie says start one. Rafinha, Hwang, Iheanacho, Duffy. Wow. So many benching headaches this week. I would probably start either Rafinha. I mean, Iheanacho against Leeds. That's a good one as well. But Rafinha or Duffy for me. Duffy, Livramento or Benrahma bench. Benrahma for me. Yusuf. A good goalkeeper, cheap goalkeeper. Once again, it has to be Ramsdale, Sanchez, or Gaeta. I would go for Ramsdale. Opinion on Spurs assets. Obviously, it's very difficult to tell right now. But what I would do is wait and see with Kane. I think Son is still a good option before and after Conte's appointment. And as for the Spurs defenders, wait and see. I still think James, Chilwell, Cancelo, Trent, Diaz, and a few others offer better value, so I'd wait and see. Start Gray or Livramento? Livramento for sure. Thank you, Jerome. Start 2, Rudiger, Cancelo, Livramento, Christensen. I would start Rudiger for sure, and... oh, that's tough. Probably Cancelo, but the other 2 as well. That's tough. Veltman or Christensen this week? Just in case he starts Christensen, I think they're both, they have a chance of not starting, but yeah, both good options. I'd start Christensen. Duffy, Livramento, Benrahma bench. I answered this already, Yusuf, and I said Benrahma. Brentford to keep clean sheet. I'm not that confident, funnily enough, but I think, they have the fixture, but I'm not too sure. Best goalkeepers under 5 million. Yeah, name 5. Yeah, I literally just named a few of them. Ramsdale, Sanchez, Gaeta, McCarthy, and I still go for the Brentford keeper, Fernandes. So those are my top 5. Then you said Mount couldn't start. That makes me nervous. Obviously, look, it's all hypothetical, but the fact is he hasn't played. He wasn't in the squad in the Champions League midweek. He literally just had a tooth infection. He couldn't even eat properly, so he lost weight. That's what Tuchel said. So maybe he might just get rested here and then come back in preparation for Game Week 12. But of course, if I had him, I probably would just start him just in case. You think Matip will start? It's a tough one because in the recent games it's been Konate. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, to be fair. I think it will be Konate again, but if not, it will be Matip. But that's the thing with Matip. He's injury prone and he's not actually nailed, so I never really liked him as an FPL asset. Do you think Christensen starts after full 90 in Champions League? Yeah, this is the thing. I was talking about it earlier. I think he might actually drop out and it'll be Aspie, Thiago Silva and Rudiger. If not, Chalobah comes in for one of them. So, yeah. And also with Thiago Silva... there are the qualifiers, aren't they? I think he got called up for Brazil and he faces Argentina as one of the games, so maybe he's going to be benched here and Chalobah comes in, and maybe that does open the slot for Christensen. There's so many possibilities, but I think based on what you said and also just looking at the stats and stuff, I think Christensen might be benched. Of course, I could be wrong. Foden or Son? I still think Son, but Foden's looking so good at the moment. Thank you, The Truth. Big yourself up as well. Let me try and get through some questions further above as well that I missed out. Bench Aspie or Antonio? I would bench Antonio in that case. Townsend or Gallagher? Gallagher. I think Konate might be dropped after last week. Matip might be back. Yeah, I mean, Lippock probably has a more informed opinion. He is a Liverpool fan. That's the thing though. Konate hasn't really impressed me too much. Even against United, when Ronaldo scored that disallowed goal, he actually dispatched Konate pretty well there. So yeah, I think Matip is actually more solid in general. He should start, but who knows. Now that Firmino's injured, do you think I should sell Mane and buy Jota and spend my money elsewhere? Yeah, I'd do that, VA. And just in general, Mane, really good option, really good player, but if you have Salah, that's already enough, and then you can get Jota for significantly cheaper and spread the money, so I would do that. Ronaldo with Son or Foden, or Kane with Son or Foden? Ultimately, look, if I'm being honest, long term, I'd say Ronaldo and Son, because Ronaldo has those fixtures from Game Week 15 onwards. Son, up until Game Week 25-26, looking really good. Ronaldo is looking like a much better player than Kane at the moment, so I would do that. But Foden's another great choice, and Kane can do well. Mbeumo or Tony in for Benrahma or Antonio? Benrahma out for Mbeumo for me in that case. Start Mount or Cancelo? I would go for... normally I'd say Mount, but maybe I'll go for Cancelo based on the comments there. I have Trent, Diaz, Cancelo, Aspie and Livramento. Which two should I bench? Diaz and Livramento. Obviously, if you don't think Azpilicueta is going to start and he could come on from the bench, then maybe bench him instead. But I'd definitely start Trent and Cancelo there. Foden for Grealish this week, or is it worth, or just wait and keep Grealish? I would do Grealish to Foden, red. I would do that. Thoughts on Ziyech? Not for me. I don't think he's worth it FPL wise, and also Chelsea can score goals from different, areas of the pitch, so not for me. Hwang or Kane? Kane from those two. If you have Smith Rowe, would you put him in, and for who? Great question. Probably I would consider it. Probably for Antonio. If I had Smith Rowe, that's a really good point. Yeah, I probably would start him. Antonio to Alba for a 1 week punt. Maybe. The thing is that obviously it's a 1 week punt. Antonio, or should I say Alba, does play Liverpool next. I would rather just, if I was getting rid of Antonio, go to a Tony or someone for several weeks, then bring Antonio back in when the fixtures are good. First bench, Pukki or Benrahma? Probably Benrahma, but that's a tough one. Who to replace Antonio with? I think Tony, if you don't have him already, despite his struggles. Is Leeds Rodrigo a good differential? He's got a good return since Bamford absence. Yeah, he scored his last 2 games. I think he's a decent option. Someone who's not really been talked about, including by myself. But I still prefer Hwang, Broca when he's fit. And he is fit now, but let's see if he can start. Tony. So I'm not too sure, but I think he is a decent option nonetheless. When Bamford's back, which could be by game week 12, 13 or 14, that's when Rodrigo will be less appealing of an asset, but of course he is looking good. If you have Rafinha already, I probably wouldn't go there. Bench Rafinha, Son, Tony and Boomer, Hwang, Livramento, Vardy, White. How many am I benching here? But if I had to bench one, it probably would be Hwang, I guess. Yeah, I think Hwang or White. I have 2 transfers I want to bring in Mbumo, Tony. What do you think? I would bring one of them, but of course, Brentford assets haven't really been delivering, but Norwich is just such a good fixture. And by the way, Salah, 70% of the captaincy poll. We might as well end it here. 379 votes. And yeah, thank you very much to everyone who voted there. When's the deadline? 6:30, Zoran. So in 40 minutes, 37 minutes. Mbumo or Smith Rowe? I still prefer Smith Rowe, but this week I think Mbumo has the better fixture. I like how the poll ended up being Salah's ownership. Yeah, pretty much sums it up, mate. Everyone who owns him captains him. Yeah, that's a good point. How much do you like pronouncing Broca? Not that much. I think his first name is Armando? But yeah, Broca, Albanian. Vardy, Tony and Antonio. Who can I replace Antonio for? Honestly, look, once again, I would rather have Antonio than Jimenez or Hwang because the fixtures for Wolves turn very soon from Game Week 14 onwards. So I look at it here, and the only player I would get rid of Antonio for is potentially Broca. But then again, is he going to start? So in your situation, I'd probably keep Antonio, but obviously it's up to you what you do there. Who should I replace Rafinha with? I wouldn't get rid of him this week. Leicester actually concede a lot of goals and chances down Rafinha's flank. But if you were to replace him, I think if you can go up to a Jota or to a Foden, I would definitely do that. If you have enough money to Son, even better. But if not, probably one of those options I discussed before: Smith Rowe, Mbumo, Gallagher. Bench one of Duffy, Rafinha, Diaz, and Foden has to be Diaz for me. Bench Semedo or Duffy? Semedo for me. Yeah. Would you bench Aubameyang? Bench Aubameyang. Yeah, no, that wouldn't make sense. Would you captain Aubameyang? I'd be tempted. He'd be my vice captain potentially, but I wouldn't. I think worried after the Havertz disaster. Yeah, ultimately, I always say this, and it sounds simple, but some people literally want to be different for the sake of it. I'm not saying that about you, by the way, but they might think Salah's going to score the most points, but they go for, let's say, a Vardy because they just want to be different. I would only just captain someone if you genuinely think they're going to outscore the most popular captaincy option. Otherwise, just go for the highest scorer in your mind. But Aubameyang's a good option, but I wouldn't go there. And of course, I can understand after the Havertz situation. Do you think Armstrong will start? I think so, Sid. But obviously, don't take my word for it. First bench, Livramento or Christensen? Christensen for me. But then again, yeah, I don't think he'd come on for a 1-pointer, so I'd go for Christensen. Cancelo, Livramento, first bench. Has to be Cancelo for me, but not really too fond on that. Son for an extra move or move for Kane with downgrading Rafinha? I would rather have Son for an extra move at this moment in time. What about Hwang for Armstrong? It's not the worst transfer in the world. I think it could be pretty good. But once again, for Hwang, you're looking at the next 3-4 weeks, then the fixtures turn. CR7, Hwang or Antonio? Who would you bench? Probably Hwang, and if not, Antonio. Yeah, I wouldn't bench Ronaldo at any week, to be honest. Havertz may get his brace. Yeah, finally. It'd be about time, wouldn't it? Bench Gallagher or Antonio. I would still bench Gallagher in that situation. When is the best time to use the free hit? Obviously, I can't give you an exact game week right now because we don't know the blanks and doubles. But for me, the free hit is best used during a blank, a major blank, or a double game week. That's what I would do. Bench Semedo or Livramento, says Colin. Yeah, once again, I'd bench Semedo. For the third time, Villa have scored in every match except against Chelsea. Livramento blanking. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point, Lipuk. Then again, though, Livramento can get an assist, and Johnson actually scored against Villa as the right back, so Livramento could do something similar. But yeah, maybe you have a good point there. I'm using free hit, Kane versus Son. I mean, logically, you'd have to say Son, but Kane's record against Everton is really good. I probably would have to say Son. Should I bench Mount, have Armstrong and Livramento on the bench? I would probably still start Mount. Obviously, I'm not really too confident in him starting, but if he does, he could do extremely well. Hey bro, among Rafinha, James Tomiyasu, Hwang, Livramento, which two to start? I would start Reece James for sure. He shouldn't be in this discussion, in my opinion. And I'd start Rafinha or Livramento. Thank you for the question, Surya. Yeah, rock and roll. Obviously, some people have come to the chat late, and I do understand that. Would you captain Son? No, but I would obviously keep an eye on him. I want him in my team. Maybe vice captain him, but I wouldn't captain him. Defender with him, 5.7 million. Yeah, Reece James is no longer in that bracket, is he? Honestly, you're looking at maybe a Spurs asset in the future, but I'm still very, very cautious about that. I'd be looking at a cheaper option, a Ben White, Livramento. I probably wouldn't say Duffy because I'm not sure if he's actually going to be nailed long term. Still a Brentford defender like Rico Henry, Janssen. So I'd probably say those sorts of players. The rest, I wouldn't go there. Thank you, Cohen. Good to see you here again. Who should I place with Benrahma? Smith Rowe, Gallagher, or Mbeumo? One of those players. At this moment in time, Smith Rowe and Mbeumo would be my priorities. Bench Cancelo or White? I'd bench White. If you don't captain Salah, you'll get left behind. You may get lucky, but nobody in the Premier League has the predicted points and goals of Salah. Yeah, and I talked about his stats in the preview. They're simply ridiculous. Let me actually remind people. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to scaremonger anyone. Ultimately make the decision you want to go for. But Salah's record is absolute. I mean, look at his XG for the season, 8.19. I mean, no one gets anywhere near. I think Antonio's second with around 5. His expected assist is 4.97. Even against Atletico Madrid, where he blanked in the Champions League, he looked threatening. He actually, I'd say, squandered a chance. So he really should have scored there. And against Burnley, that's the only other game this season he's blanked in. And then against Brighton, yeah, not very too convincing with an assist only, but still got a disallowed goal. His shots, 42 shots this season, 24 on target. That's double Vardy, for example, who's been actually really good statistically. So, yeah, I'm not going to back against Salah at the moment. But of course, West Ham is a good opponent. Start Creswell or Antonio? I'd start Antonio. I think West Ham are more likely to score, and Antonio being one of them, than West Ham keeping a clean sheet. So it has to be Antonio for me. What do you think about Lamptey as a bench option? Yep, that's another good defender, to be fair. Once again, though, he's injury prone. And I don't know, he does sometimes get some yellow cards, but the main thing with him is the injury record. Bench White or Livramento? Yeah, I'd bench White, mate, El Mehdi. Start Chilwell or Mbeumo? I would start Chilwell, honestly, but I wouldn't want to bench Mbeumo, to be fair. Is it worth taking a hit to get rid of Digne? I think he's actually available for this weekend, but I would get rid of him, especially for a Reece James or a Ben Chilwell. Should I keep Sarr, Semedo and Jimenez until Norwich or offload them earlier? I would probably get rid of Sarr or Semedo first. I think a double up in Wolves' defence is just not really there. And yeah, for example, from Sarr to Ramsdale, that could be an upgrade in my opinion. When does Southampton versus Aston Villa lineup come out? An hour before the game, so 7 o'clock PM. So basically exactly an hour from now. Should I do KDB to Son this week or wait for the international break? I actually would do it this week, but to be fair, you don't have to. You can actually just analyse, watch Spurs, but I think Son is just a better asset in general, so you could just, make the move earlier and that's it, but you don't have to get Son this week, I think. Bench Hwang, Rodri or Partey? If that's Rodri from City, then I'd definitely, and Partey as well. Yeah, I'd bench one of them instead. Rodri or Partey, I would start Hwang. Maguire or Cancelo? Cancelo definitely. So many fantasy Premier League going on. I think your channel is the best because you watching and commenting Champions League too. You know who's playing in Champions League, who got arrested. Well, to be fair, other people do know that as well, but they might not cover UCL fantasy. But yeah, I've kept an eye on all the lineups. Obviously, I'm involved in UCL fantasy too, and I'm keeping a very good eye on that. Doing much better in UCL fantasy than FPL. Obviously, very much appreciate your comment, Thomas, and good to see you on here again. Thanks for the stream, Dylan. Have a good one. Thank you, The Flying Dutchman. Good luck this week, and obviously, thank you very much for being a channel member for over a month. Very much appreciated, mate. What do you think of taking Rudiger out for James or Chilwell? It's not a bad move, and those fullbacks are literally in another stratosphere because they are so attacking. But you don't have to get rid of Rudiger, I think. Having one of those fullbacks and Rudiger, I think is a very nice combination. But if you're really, you really want one of those fullbacks, then I'd probably do it and get Chilwell in. Is Kovacic to Rafinha a decent move? It is a decent move, but you can also just go for Smith Rowe, Mbumo or Gallagher, I think. Van Dijk, Rudiger, Diaz, Janssen, Duffy. Can you suggest starting three? Wait, I just lost the question, my bad. Let me try to get back up in. Yeah, it's Rudiger for sure. I start Janssen and Duffy. Am I a wizard, Dylan? Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Yeah, you are, mate. I mean, you called a Salah hat-trick against Manchester United. Lewandowski, fair enough, he's at home. But Benfica were doing pretty decent, to be fair, before they faced Bayern Munich twice. That's incredible, mate. You should bet. Actually, mate, no, I'm not encouraging betting. I'm not. Okay, no. Forget I said that. Should I do KDB to Son this week? Yeah, I would probably wait in that case. But, there's nothing wrong with doing it early. Nothing wrong with it. Is there a risk that Aspie gets subbed on? Yeah, it happened against Aston Villa, I believe, when they won 3-0, I think it was. So, yeah, there is a chance. Play Diaz or Livramento? Livramento. You already have Cancelo. Yeah, I'd start Livramento. Walker or Cash to start? Walker. I think, City are more likely. And also, Walker might not start anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. Vardy missed the pen yesterday. True, that's a good point. I didn't actually mention that. He did. I have two Man City defence. You got rid of one of them. I'm guessing, do I get rid of one of them? Well, I did. I got rid of Diaz for James. You don't have to, though. The fixtures are coming up for City, and they're looking really good. Reguilon in, good transfer or not? I think it's too early. Obviously, look, the point about FPL is being ahead of the curve. So if Spurs start keeping clean sheets, and you got Reguilon in, and he gets the attacking returns, then, that's a really good transfer. But honestly, looking at Spurs, I think it's going to take a bit of a while to get up to speed defensively and just in general as an overall team. So I probably wouldn't go there myself, but if you're really, on for it, then go for it, I think. Hey Dylan, how are you? Just one confusion this game week. I have 2 free transfers. I don't want to burn any of them. I have Aspie and Rudiger as Chelsea defensive cover. Would you move him to Chilwell or James? Yeah, I'd move Aspie on. And because of the Alonso news and also Chilwell not really coming on for 1-pointers as often as James, I would do Azpilicueta to Chilwell, Aranya. And obviously, thank you very much for becoming a member as well. Do you truly think Antonio will score versus Liverpool? Not really, if I'm being honest, but I'm not that confident in Livramento either. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I think West Ham can cause some problems, and Liverpool were very poor against Brighton. But yeah, it is obviously not ideal, and I have considered benching Antonio. Aspie to Chilwell or Townsend to Mbumo? Townsend to Mbumo, I think. Genius Gamer. Good luck with the game week, everyone. Good night, Dylan, fellow mods, and everyone who has liked the stream. Thank you, Lipuk, and obviously very much appreciated to you and all the mods here and everyone who's been watching. Is it worth a hit? Ronaldo to Kane, Sarr to Gallagher? Not for me. I wouldn't get rid of Ronaldo to Kane for a hit. Look at Kane this season. It's just not been poor. He's not been good. Duffy or Dunk, someone said. I think Dunk is just going to be more nailed in the long term. Duffy will probably lose his spot. So you have to say Dunk in that case. Is Rafinha to Foden a good transfer? Yes, it is, Terence, definitely. Who would you bench and who would you start? Mount, Rafinha, Cancelo, Duffy, Livramento. I don't know how many people you have to bench there, Sharia, but I probably would bench either Duffy or Mason Mount, really? I'm not sure about that, but yeah, Mount or Duffy. Salah may get a brace in order to revenge for blanking in UCL. Yeah, I mean, I literally just got him in UCL and he blanked, unfortunately. And I got rid of Foden. So I literally could have had 110 plus points there. But obviously, look at me complaining about 10 extra points when I got triple digits. I mean, that's how good UCL Fantasy is going at the moment. Start Aspie or Rodrigo? Aspie for me. 2 free transfers, Aspie to Chilwell or Saka to Smith Rowe. I think long term, That's tough. I mean, Saka to Smith Rowe could be classed as a kind of sideways move. I would rather have Smith Rowe though. I think Aspie will start this week, and based on that, I'll do Saka to Smith Rowe, but Chilwell is also a good move. Would you play Reguilon over Maximan or Gray? Probably over Gray. But then again, are Spurs going to keep a clean sheet? And if Everton do score, Gray could actually be one of them. It's a tough one. I would actually be tempted to start Gray over Reguilon. Bring in James or Rudiger for Aspie. Probably James at this moment in time, but Rudiger's a really good choice too. Bench 1, Saka, Rafinha, Antonio Jimenez. I would actually bench... that is damn tough. Maybe Antonio in that case. If not, maybe Jimenez, but that's tough. Thanks for the great content. Thank you, John. Should I go for Canos or Mbeumo for Gray? I'd go for Mbeumo, but obviously Canos is another one under the radar. Gray or Tielemans? At this moment in time, has to be Tielemans. Alpha answered your question already, mate. Bench 1, Livramento, Diaz, Duffy. Probably Diaz, actually. Especially if you have Cancelo. Bench 1, Gray or Duffy? Gray. I'd bench him, Kurt. Van Dijk, Rudiger, Diaz, Janssen, Duffy. Can you suggest starting 3? I think I did this already, Shamsul, and I said Rudiger, Duffy, and Janssen. Tony or Hwang? Still Tony for me. But obviously, my patience maybe is wearing a little bit thin. What would you change with my team? Ramsdale, Rudiger, Trent, James, Gallagher, Rafinha, Salah, Mbeumo, Hwang, Antonio, Kane, Raya, Cancelo, Livramento, Cornet. That's a really good team. You've got a lot of benching headaches in certain weeks. I think ultimately what you could do, if you don't know what transfer to do, is Raya to Foster. Just saves that extra bit of money. If not, if you want another goalkeeper, then I'd recommend Gaeta or Sanchez. Sanchez being my preference there. Other than that, I think your team is pretty well stacked. You don't have to make transfers, but maybe a Foden or a Son in midfield, and that might require a downgrade in other positions. But that looks pretty good, to be fair. Sal Havertz, not this week, but I would do so in the coming weeks, to be fair. Should I start Hwang or Grealish? Stuck as I feel Jack could explode. If you think Jack's going to explode, I'd definitely start him. And United's defence is looking really poor. I'd say, well, the stats do say it themselves, Palace are a better defence right now than United, especially with Varane out. Should I start Livramento or Duffy? I'd go for Livramento, mate. James says, does Sarr to Son this week sound good? It sounds excellent, mate. I would do it, definitely. Is taking a -4 to remove Sarr for Ramsdale pointless? I wouldn't take a -4, especially if Sarr's on your bench already. Hi Dylan, is it worth a -4 for Rudiger to Chilwell as he's nailed this week and attacking returns? Says Ibrahim. I think it's worth it anyways, even though Rudiger's a really good choice because of Chilwell's attacking potential. So yeah, I'd say it's worth it. But Rudiger is also a really good choice. Start Antonio or Townsend? Antonio. Livramento or Benrahma, says Pritish. Livramento. Iheanacho, Livramento and Gallagher. Which one should be in the playing 11? Livramento for me. Start 1. Creswell or Livramento or White? Definitely not Creswell. It has to be one of the other two, and I'd go for Livramento. Should I sub in Livramento instead of Gray? Definitely, Rohan. Definitely. Nice name, by the way. Score predictions for Liverpool versus West Ham. I think 3-1 Liverpool. But then again, that might... You know what? I think West Ham could actually be really tough for Liverpool. It could be like a 2-1. So it's one of those scores for me. I think West Ham will score. And Wolves versus Palace, that's tough. I think it might be a draw there. Just thinking off the top of my head, not really thinking about it too much. I think 1-1. Foster or Edison, who to start? Definitely Edison for me. Do you think Adama's going to start? Not too sure about that, to be honest, and he's someone I'd want to get rid of, Hassan. Who would you bench out of Sanchez or Gaeta? I would bench Gaeta. Love your content, bro. Thanks for the tips. Thank you, Cohen. Much appreciated, mate. Thoughts on Aspie? I think he might start this week, but just in general, the fact he's not even that nailed now, I'd go for Rudiger, Chilwell or James. Those fullbacks are looking so good. Gabriel or Chalobah? To start this week, I'd probably go for Gabriel, but I think Chelsea are just more likely to keep a clean sheet in general, so maybe that doesn't make too much sense, to be fair. Yeah. I wouldn't have any of them in my team, though, if I'm being honest. I'd rather have, for example, Ben White over Gabriel, saving that money, and also for Chalobah, one of the fullbacks, or Rudiger. Should I start Townsend, Benrahma, or Pinnock? Definitely Pinnock for me, FCN Sports. Danny says 105 points in UCL Fantasy and currently 4,915th in the world. That's really good, mate. And yeah, some very high scores recently in UCL Fantasy. Ben Rama to Smith Rowe. That's a good move, mate. I think that's worth it. Should I bring in Tony for Bamford? Yeah, head glitch. And Bamford is still out, so I would do that. Are you confident Aspie will start despite James resting midweek? Yeah, because Aspie could start as one of the centre-backs, but then you could, on the flip side, say, well, Tuchel might be looking for more aerial threat, especially with Alonso confirmed out. So Chilwell and James on the wings, and then it could be, instead of Aspie as a centre-back, it could be Rudiger, Thiago Silva and Christensen or Chalobah. Hwang or Tony? Still Tony for me, Mohammed. Tony for Hwang? I think it's worth it, Ivy. But obviously Tony, not looking good at the moment. Jimenez or Vardy? I still prefer Vardy, to be honest, but obviously Jimenez is significantly cheaper. Hope you get a nice green arrow. Thank you very much, 10 itchy fingers. Very much appreciated. Same with you. 18 minutes left for the deadline. Any last questions, let me know. I think the chat is a bit more manageable now. Actually, famous last words. Maybe it's not. Hwang or Tony? Yeah, Tony for me. I think I already read it, so my bad there. Jimenez or Vardy? Let's see. Oh yeah, answer that. Start Broca or Livramento? Livramento for me. AD. My team is Ramsdale, James, Rudiger, Cancelo, White, Salah, Rafinha, Foden, Saka, Vardy, Jimenez, and Foster, Antonio Livramento, and Douglas Luiz on the bench. Got one free transfer and 0.7 million. What would you do? I think that team looks good this week. You could actually hold, and then next week you have the ability to make 2 free transfers and get a Heung-min Son in there or a Harry Kane. So that's what I would do. Probably hold a transfer and wait. Southampton versus Villa score predictions and who will score in your opinion. I think I'm more confident in Southampton scoring, but I think both teams will score. I think it could be a 2-1 Southampton or a 1-1. Villa are in really big trouble if they lose this one. And Dean Smith could be out of a job very soon. But who will score in your opinion? It depends on who starts. So I think one of the Southampton strikers will score, whether it's Armstrong, Che Adams or Broca. And for Villa, I could see like a McGinn or a Watkins scoring, but obviously maybe that's kind of a stereotypical answer. I have a feeling Mbeumo won't start and will get a 1-pointer. Well, he is in training and Thomas Frank said he should be good to start this week. What do you think about Fernandes in goal? I would rather have Ramsdale, Sanchez and Gaeta at this moment in time until I see Brentford a bit more resolute like they were at the beginning of the season, because they look very vulnerable, especially from an aerial perspective against Burnley. Bench Antonio or Cancelo? I probably would bench Antonio in that case. Should I remove Matip for Livramento and take a -4 hit? For a hit, I'm not too sure. If you already have other options, Ashraf, I would just not take the hit and then make that move next week. Play Gundogan and bench Tony. I have Mbeumo. I would not bench Tony, mate. Definitely not. At home it will be Chalobah. Yeah, fair enough, J Martin. Yeah, I think that probably is the smarter move rather than Gabriel. Best captain other than Salah this week? I think Vardy. If not, maybe Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang could be really good. Play Antonio Livramento, Mount. Out of those 3, it has to be maybe Mount, actually. Yeah. Sell Havertz and Laporte for Chilwell and Jota, or hold back on Jota. Yeah, I'd hold back on Jota this week and do Laporte to Chilwell, Cohen. Rafinha for Benrahma. Yeah, I think that's a good move, but if not, looking kind of longer term, Smith Rowe, Mbeumo, they could be better options. Thank you, Aidan. How much transfer budget do you have? I think I've got 0.7 million left with this squad. Let me double check that for you. Yeah, I've got 0.7 million in the bank, and my overall squad value is 102.8. So if you add that up, 103.5 million is my overall squad value with everything taken into consideration. Rafinha to Jota for free, or should I just roll? Roll for me. Son and Tony or Kane and Rafinha? Son and Tony, I think, but both good duos. Gallagher or Smith Rowe? I would rather at this moment in time go for Smith Rowe, but if you're looking up, up until the end of the season, I think Gallagher will get more points. But I think, for the next 10 game weeks or so, I'd be tempted to say Smith Rowe. Livramento or Mbeumo? In terms of starting, I'd start Mbeumo, but Livramento is a good option, of course. My team: Sarr, Foster, Cancelo, Chilwell, Trent, Rudiger, Livramento, Salah, Mbeumo, Allen, Rafinha, Benrahma, Vardy, Broca, Jimenez. Plans: Vardy to Ronaldo, Benrahma to Son, Rafinha to Brownhill, Sarr to Gaeta. That looks like a good plan. I honestly prefer Ramsdale over Gaeta, but that's still a good move. And they all look like good transfers, to be honest. Benrahma to Son in particular. Rafinha to Brownhill to facilitate that. Obviously, you will have 2 bench fodder midfielders, so your midfield might be a bit lightweight. That's the only kind of concern I'd have. But obviously, if you're happy with that, you're going to be playing 4 or 5 defenders at times. That's completely good. Would you sell one of Foden or Grealish, and for who? I'd keep Foden for sure, mate, and I'd sell Grealish if anything. And I would be tempted to go to Jota, and if you have enough money, definitely a Heung-min Son. Cancelo to Chilwell, I probably wouldn't. I think Cancelo's still a really good option. So yeah, for me, Grealish to Jota or to Son. And if you have the money, Son for me. Tony over Salah for captain? Not for me. I think Salah, great record against West Ham. His stats are by far the best of any player. And even when he's blanked against Atletico Madrid and Burnley, he still looks lively. Against Brighton, had a goal disallowed. So for me, it has to be Salah. Play Gray or Jesus? I'd play Jesus. Or Gabriel Jesus. That's how they say it. Bench Livramento or Havertz? I'd bench Livramento. Who to start? Antonio or Armstrong? I'd actually start Antonio, but obviously Armstrong is a good person to be a good person. I just read another comment. I said good person. He might be a good person. He is a good option. Bench one out of Hwang, Wilson or Cancelo? Hwang or Wilson? I'd start Cancelo for sure. Yeah, Hwang or Wilson. Best captain other than Salah this week? Yeah, Aranya answered this question. For me, it has to be Vardy or Aubameyang. And if not, Chilwell or James, I think. You know, one of those for me. One of the best. Leeds looked so poor last game. I'm benching Rafinha. Yeah, fair enough. And to be fair, what? You look at it, a moment of individual brilliance by Rafinha and a long shot by Rodrigo, which, to be fair, should have been blocked and should have been saved. So that's a good point. I just think that Leicester concedes so many chances from that flank. To be fair, you know, the way you put it, maybe Rafinha should be benched for Livramento. But you're always going to have points on your bench, you know, every season. Bench 2 out of Antonio, say Maximan or Livramento. What do you think? I would bench, say, Maximan, and yeah, I mean, it's tough. I've got Antonio starting over Livramento, but that could easily be the wrong decision. I mean, I guess I'd say Livramento, but he can do well, FPL Dream. Thank you very much to Yurang for becoming a member. Thank you so much, mate. Good to see you on board once again. So thank you very much. You think Mbuma will play? Yep. And also, based on the comments by Thomas Frank, he said he should start this week. He's been in training. You can see in the images, so I think he will. Can I be a moderator, Dylan? So long as you are responsible, then yeah. And I tend to, like, after the stream is done, I go through the chat and then I add, you know, moderators. So that's what I do. Start 1, bench 2. Braca, Livramento, Benrahma. I'd start Livramento. Kane for Antonio or Son for Rafinha? Son for Rafinha, I think. Transferring James or Chilwell for Aspie? For me, Chilwell, but James is still a really good option, and I can see why you'd go for him. Antonio plus Sarr to Tony plus Smith Rowe. Thoughts? That actually looks pretty good, especially Sarr to Smith Rowe. I think that's actually a good set of transfers, Lan. Diaz, Livramento, Saka. Who to bench? I'd actually bench Diaz, especially if you have Cancelo already. Rafinha and KDB to Son and Foden for a -4. Yeah, I actually would probably... Yeah, that's actually a good set of transfers. If you can afford it, maybe keep Rafinha for this week. But if not, you know, that's fine, to be fair. Hi, mate. Great content. Should I go for Reece James or Lamptey? Thank you very much, Uri. I would go for Reece James, definitely. Havertz or Tony captain? I would probably go for Tony out of the two, to be fair. Hey, Alfred just tuned in. Thank you very much. And it's not Alfred from Batman, is it? It's Alfred from one of those shows. I can't remember the name, to be fair. Start Trent or Cancelo? Oh, that's tough. Probably Trent. James in for Duffy or just roll a transfer. Already have Chilwell. James will probably go up very soon. I would probably, if you already have Livramento, Kyle, I would do James in for Duffy. Kane for Antonio or Son for Rafinha? I answered this already, mate. I would go for Son for Rafinha. Captain James or Salah? I'd go for Salah. Bench 2 out of Jimenez, Rafinha, Antonio, Gallagher. I would bench Gallagher and... maybe... oh, that's tough. I'd definitely bench Gallagher, I know that for sure, but obviously he could still do well. That's insanely tough because it's so tight between all of them, even Gallagher. I probably would say bench Antonio maybe. Play Diaz or Rafinha? I already have Cancelo starting. I would bench Diaz and start Rafinha, Jimmy. Play Duffy or bench? It depends who you're starting him over, but I think there's nothing wrong with starting him. Is Mount nailed to start? If not, strictly for a 1 week punt, which Chelsea midfielder would you bring in? I think Havertz or Hudson-Odoi maybe. Obviously, I know a lot of people are interested in Pulisic at the moment. Would you start Maupay? I'm not sure if he's even going to start, so I'm not too sure about that. But great record against Newcastle, especially last season. I'm not too sure though. Should I play Mount or Rafinha or Livramento? It's tough because I think Mount might be benched based on the comments there. Damn, that is tough, mate. Some of these questions are literally leaving me speechless. I would probably start Mount just in case, but there's a chance he might not even start. Start Livramento and bench Antonio. Yeah, I mean, that's a shout. I mean, I've thought about it, but at the moment I'm going for Antonio. Should I start Duffy or Cancelo? Cancelo for me. Bench Duffy or Gallagher? I would bench Gallagher. Diaz or Benrahma to start? Diaz. Pick 3 to start. Mount, Duffy, Cancelo, Hwang, Townsend. Mount, Cancelo and Duffy. Thanks for the answer, mate. Much appreciated. Thank you, Yuri. Yeah, you're wrong. I never deactivate anything, by the way, in terms of the membership, but it's fine anyway. And obviously, you don't have to become a member, but very much appreciated that you decided to do so. Bench Ronaldo or Cancelo? Probably Ronaldo, but I mean, benching Ronaldo sounds ludicrous, to be honest. Bench Kilman or Livramento? Kilman. So I'd start Livramento. Babu. Mount or Armstrong? I'd start Mount. Play 2 in Antonio, Rudiger, Gallagher, Livramento, Saint-Maximin. I would start Rudiger for sure and either Antonio or Livramento. 9 minutes left. Will the lineups come out? No, it will be around 7 p.m. It's not like Champions League where it can come out an hour and a half before. Bench Antonio or Gray? I'd bench Gray. Bench Livramento, Rafinha or Jimenez? Either Jimenez or Livramento, but that's tough. They're all good options, I think, this week. Thanks for the help. I've got to go sleep now. It's 2 a.m. Good luck for the game week. Well, get a good night's sleep. Hopefully, by the time you wake up, you get some points if you have any players in today's game. And thank you very much for tuning in, Terence. And yeah, so late on already. Hi, who to play? Cancelo or Pinnock? I'd still play Cancelo. Livramento or Hwang for the bench? I'd bench Hwang, Manda. Tony in this week for Antonio and Kane for Vardy next week. Yep, but obviously Vardy could actually be a good option to hold for the fixtures after Chelsea, but that looks good. Antonio Cancelo to bench. Maybe I'd say Antonio. I'd bench him. I'm thinking about Ziyech or Hudson-Odoi just to go a bit differential. Do you think they're nailed to start? I don't think they're nailed to start, but one of them should. I'm not sure if both of them would, so it can go wrong either way, whoever you go for. Rudiger to Chilwell on a -4. I think Rudiger's a great option, but it could be worth the -4 for that attacking potential. -4 for Marcel to Chilwell, worth it? Yeah, I think it's worth it, James. Captain Chilwell over Salah. It's actually an option, head glitch. I'm not going there, but I think Chilwell's a great option. Should be nailed to start. Start Townsend over Jota? No, I'd start Jota. Good luck, Dylan. Thank you, Zerul. Good luck to you as well. Start Mbeumo or Diaz? I'd start Mbeumo, genius. Thank you, FM. Thank you very much. If Mount is benched, he may come on for a 1 point. He could, but I don't know. I don't think... If you're asking me, if he's on the bench, I don't think he will come on. Obviously, it depends on what situation Chelsea find themselves in during the match, but I think they'll win quite comfortably. Cheers, bro. Spurs look leaky at the back. Conceded 2 to Vitesse, or Vitesse. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. But I'm going to go with Antonio, as you said. Yeah, and also with Spurs, I think with Conte, they actually might concede a lot of goals, but also score a lot themselves. And Son and Kane are the ones you want to go for, especially Son right now. Funny to think to captain Ramsdale. Nah, never captain a goalkeeper, mate, unless it's a double game week and he's the only player you have in your team with a double. Bench Antonio or Dyer? I'd bench Dyer. Bench Antonio or Gallagher. So I'd start Antonio. What time is it there? Live in Sweden, and it's 7:24. Yeah, it's the same here. 7:25. No, 7. Yeah, I'm an idiot. It's 6:25. There's an hour difference basically between Sweden and the UK. So yeah, basically the deadline is at 6:30. 5 minutes to go. Let me try get through all these questions quickly. So think of this as a quick fire round. Let's see if I can actually stick to that. Bench White or Hwang? I'd bench Hwang. Hi Dylan. Rudiger or Smith Rowe? I'd start Rudiger. Thanks, Dylan. Enjoyed your stream. Good luck all. Thank you, Neo. You're the chosen one. Thank you very much, mate. Any Laporte replacements other than Chelsea defenders? Cancelo, if you can afford it. If not, I would go to a Brentford defender like Janssen, Pinnock, or Rico Henry. And if not, there's Ben White or Tomiyasu. But I probably would prefer Ben White out of those two. Rafinha or Mount, who should I play? Probably Mount, but I'd say he is more likely to be benched than Rafinha. Thank you, Dylan, for your humble response. Good luck for the game week. Thank you, Rosa. Reece James to Marcel is a -4. I think I answered this already, Zane, and I said, yeah, I'd do it, definitely. Cancelo, Rafinha, Gallagher, or Hwang, whom to bench? I would bench Hwang or Gallagher. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Ninja, for tuning in. Bench Cancelo, confused, would you? I probably wouldn't, but obviously you don't have to do what I'm doing or what I suggest. I think they're all good options this week. It's not an easy one. Start Livramento or Diaz? I'd probably start Livramento here. Bench order these players: Antonio, Livramento, and Duffy. That is incredibly tough. I mean, off the bench, I think Livramento and Duffy, if I'm being completely honest with you, are more likely to get 6 points and not blank than Antonio. But I think Antonio has a higher ceiling in general. But yeah, I'd say Antonio, Livramento, Duffy in the exact order you say. But I'm very, very, conflicted about this. Start Duffy or Cancelo. Cancelo for me, Bojan. Southampton versus Villa, clean sheet odds. Southampton are more likely to keep a clean sheet than Villa. But in terms of overall clean sheet odds, as Lipok said, I think Villa have actually not, blanked in terms of not scoring in many games this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if Villa nick a goal or two. Gundogan or Rafinha? Rafinha for me. Armstrong over Tony for Trent. I would rather have Tony, to be honest. If you had Mount, would you keep him? That's tough. I probably would just in case, but long term I would get rid of him. Bench Antonio, Cancelo or Duffy? I would bench Duffy. Antonio Jimenez. For this week specifically, maybe I'd start Jimenez, but overall I prefer Antonio. Who to sell? I captain my team: Ramsdale, Chilwell, Reece James, Arnold, Cancelo, Mount, Townsend, Salah, Benrahma, Antonio, Tony. Who should you captain? I mean, it's up to you, mate. You don't have to, it's just my opinion. I'd go for Salah. As for who to sell, Townsend and Benrahma for me. Son or Vardy, long-term Son. Townsend or Hwang, White or Rafinha. I would probably go for Rafinha, especially if you have Ramsdale. Thanks, Dylan. Hope we see green arrows this week. Thank you, Cohen. It's about time. I haven't had a green arrow in a long time. Thank you very much, mate. Hopefully you get one too. Start Sar or Saiss. I would probably start Saiss, but I'm not too sure about that one. Rafinha or Mount, who should I play? I'd start Mount just in case, but just bear in mind he might be benched. Smith Rowe or Rafinha? Smith Rowe. Bench Livramento or Antonio? At the moment I've benched Livramento, but it could be the wrong decision. Armstrong over Tony? No, not for me. Buena suerte, mi amigo. Gracias por un gran consejo. Thank you very much, Kobe. Good luck to you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Rafinha to Trossard, 1 free transfer. I wouldn't do it this week. Obviously, Trossard has that great fixture. And if he continues to play in that false 9, of course, that's a great transfer. But I probably would keep Rafinha. Lamptey or Duffy? Probably Lamptey. I think he's going to get more minutes in the coming weeks. But he's just so injury prone that I'm just not that sure about him. Bench Antonio, Cancelo, Duffy. I answered this already, Dodger. No need to repeat yourself. But I would bench Duffy. Bench Gray or Dyer? I would actually bench Dyer. Ramsdale or Kundi? I'd go for Ramsdale. Bench Hwang or Wilson? I would bench Wilson. Hwang to Antonio? I wouldn't get either of them this week, so I wouldn't sell or get rid of get any of them in this week, if you know what I mean. Unless you got rid of Antonio for Tony. Cucurella or White or Reguilon? I'd rather have White long term, to be honest. Yep, that's it. The deadline has passed. 1 minute left or 0. Start Reguilon or White? I would start White. Thanks, Dylan. Have a great game week. Thank you very much, MF on. Very much appreciated. Rafinha or Edouard? Rafinha for me. Deadline done. Yep. Vardy or Chilwell captain? Probably Vardy for me. So as you can see on my team, it's locked in. So Ramsdale's in goal. I'm not making the same mistake as I did last week by benching him for Foster. I'd say I was a bit unlucky with that in a way, even though it was the wrong decision, because Leicester should have scored. And it, when I saw Ramsdale make that amazing save and it hit the crossbar, I just knew Arsenal weren't conceding that day. Then I made 1 free transfer, Diaz to Reece James. I've got the double up now. Alonso is out. confirmed by Thomas Tuchel, so Chilwell should be nailed to start. He was my transfer, one of my 2 transfers heading into game week 10 for a hit. So Chilwell is in there. Trent Alexander-Arnold away to West Ham United. I'm not that confident of a clean sheet, but I think he could get some attacking returns. Cancelo, the same thing against United. I've got Foden against United as well. Salah captain. Great record against West Ham. He loves playing against them and Watford the most. 9 goals against both opponents. Rafinha at home to Leicester. Leicester concede a lot of chances down the flank Rafinha operates in. Vardy, I know he's blanked in the last 2 games. He missed a penalty yesterday, I believe. But against Leeds, I think that Leicester could actually expose them and they can finally start into a bit of form. Obviously, they do face Chelsea next, so they need to get some results soon. Tony against Norwich, finally. Will he get some attacking returns? I think so. And same with Mbumo. And then Antonio at home to Liverpool. Honestly, for me, the big dilemma was who should I bench out of Livramento, Antonio, Rafinha and Cancelo. I ended up benching Livramento. I think Southampton could keep a clean sheet today, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Villa do get a goal themselves. But Livramento can still do well even if Southampton don't keep the clean sheet, because Johnson actually scored from a similar position, from the right back spot against Villa recently. Livramento can do the same thing or get an assist. I'm pretty happy to bench Townsend, so even if he does haul and Tottenham versus Everton is a very entertaining, high-scoring game, I wouldn't kick myself too much about it unless he gets like 20 plus points or something. And Douglas Luiz is out. I think it's a hamstring issue. Let me double check this. A muscle injury. So he could be out for several weeks, and obviously that's a blow as well for Brazil. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. I'll try to go through any last questions and comments you lot have. I'll also have a little water break, as they say. Hello, Dylan Saar. Ben Rama for Smith Rowe and Gallagher -4. Worth it in the long term? I think so, yeah. I think those are good options in the long term. Probably 2 of the best around that price. Vardy plus Jota combination now maybe better than any Son Kane plus midfielder budget. Maybe. I would argue, though, maybe Son and Foden would be a nice duo, but that's a bit more or less realistic option. But yeah, I think sticking with Vardy is actually a good option. I know against Chelsea he'll probably blank, but you never know. He's got a great record against big teams, and then after that, the fixtures are just amazing. I love your channel, man. The way you reply for every live chat, respect. Thank you very much. Obviously, today, I wasn't able to answer every single one of them, unfortunately. There were a lot of people in here, so obviously very much appreciated, and I tried to get through as much as possible. Yeah, transfer time is up. Hopefully, the team looks good on paper. Come on, do something. Do something, mate. Yeah, it's all time. Good luck, everyone. Good luck to you as well, rock and roll. I benched Livramento, and I already feel sick. Yeah, so do I, mate. He'll probably get points again. Hopefully, if he does, he comes off the bench for whoever blanks, but obviously that's, asking for a lot. Good luck to you as well, Melvin. I still have an injured Lukaku on the bench. That's a lot of money to have on your bench, mate. But, I can see why he did that in a way. But ultimately, I probably would have just got rid of him weeks ago like I did. Set and locked in. Yeah, good luck to you as well, Rania. Thank you for becoming a member recently. Good luck to you as well, Rock and Roll and Melvin. Love the content. I'm getting mad because of this game, says Darja. Yeah, it does have that effect on us. But yeah, ultimately just enjoy it no matter what happens. And if you have a bad game week, just laugh. That's what I've been doing for the last few weeks, laughing like a maniac at my amazingly bad scores. Do you think I should do a keeper transfer in Raya to Sanchez next week? Yeah, if not, I would do Raya to Foster. And if you have a main keeper already, then you're good to go. Point prediction, I'm not going to do that, mate. Yeah, let's just do it for fun. I don't think it will jinx myself anyway. I'd say this team will get 60 plus points, but I don't know. My confidence is a little low, FPL-wise, based on what's happened recently. Good evening. Got 104 points in last UCL match day. My first ever 100 plus points. Wanted to brag a bit. Foden didn't start. Only 1 game in 2 UCL seasons. You shouldn't have transferred him out. I benched Livramento. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just I thought Salah was just more nailed on to start, and I'm more comfortable watching City with Foden or without Foden than Liverpool without Salah. And to be honest, he should have scored in that game, and Foden shouldn't have got the man of the match for me. At least, based from a fantasy perspective, Cancelo got 3 assists, created 10 chances. I think he should have got it. But yeah, obviously, I kind of was on the wrong end of the stick with Foden and Salah, but I still got over 100 points again and a really good rank, I think around 700. So obviously that decision could have maybe got me into the top 500, but still a good season so far. Bench Hwang or Gallagher, I probably would have benched Hwang maybe, but that's a tough one. I hope Villa blank this week. Yeah, I hope Southampton blank if Liverpool doesn't come off my bench. Good luck. Antonio's on my bench, my Liverpool bias. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be kind of tricky either way, no matter what happens. It's a difficult decision. Good luck, Genius Gamer. Good to see you here. Thank you, George. What are your transfer plans for next game week? Ings, Constant, Douglas Luiz out, so Southampton might get a clean sheet. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not really comfortable with benching Livramento. In terms of my transfer plans, I think I might hold. I might, if I do go on long enough, I might show you, what my team is looking like for game week 12. Just a little overview, but if anything, I'll be talking about that in the reaction stream and the team selection. But I am looking to get Son still, and I might wait a week or two, maybe downgrade Vardy or Antonio or someone else and look to get Son in. But if I'm being honest, I want to keep Foden. He's looking really good at the moment. If I do plan transfers for a -4 after the deadline, Vardy to Kane, Diaz to Trent, Jimenez to Broca instead of Hwang, I can get Jota in game week 13 by getting rid of Rafinha. That looks good, to be honest, Stomped. Obviously, let's see if Broca does start today, and even if he doesn't, let's see if he can actually get back into the starting lineup in future game weeks. But those transfers look good, especially Diaz to Trent, and I'd say, yeah, Vardy to Kane looks pretty decent too on paper, but Kane hasn't really shown much this season. Need a green arrow this time round. Had red arrow 3 game weeks in a row. Yeah, I think I've had it for 4 or 5 game weeks in a row. And yeah, Yoran, you've got the loyalty badge actually next to you, so it does show that you've been a member for over a month. So that's a bit strange how it got cancelled, but either way, obviously it doesn't matter, mate. Much appreciated nonetheless. Let me go through any last questions. Yeah, the week when everyone's captain Salah and then West Ham absolutely turned Liverpool over, I wouldn't mind that too much actually, because most people would have done the same thing, and by playing Antonio, he could do really well, obviously. Unless, West Ham score 4 and he's not involved again, but we'll wait and see. I've bench boosted with Gallagher, Livramento and Elyounoussi. Good idea. I honestly wouldn't have done it, Ethan, but maybe it will do really well for you. I think Gallagher and Livramento in particular could be really good. I captained Tony and benched Edouard for Rafinha. Wow, that's some bold calls there. Hopefully Tony does the business for you. And I would have done the same thing with Edouard and Rafinha. How many points did you get for UCL? I'm not exactly sure, but I think 102. And once again, if I didn't get rid of Foden for Salah, I probably would have got, 109? But yeah, I'm really happy with it, obviously. Just 1 or 2, mistakes there. Also, I brought in Alvarez, and he didn't even play, and he got 0 points. So I could have actually had I did get a really good score, but I could have gotten, 110, 120 points. Thanks for answering my questions, Dylan. Good luck, mate. Thank you, Ethan. Good luck to you as well. Watch Livramento get a double-digit haul because I put him second on my bench. Oh my god, don't say that, mate. Don't say that. I had enough of the red arrows and all that. Keep Reggie on. I don't like Spurs defenders, but if you have him, maybe keep him, unless you have a direct route to a Cancelo, a James, or a Chilwell, or even a Rudiger. Dude, we've got the same squad. Oh, voice crack. Yeah, a lot of people have similar squads, to be fair, at this point, but yeah, to have the exact same squad is a bit creepy, to be fair. Yeah, Cancelo was the man, I agree. Just looking at it logically, creating 10 chances as a fullback and then having 3 assists. Come on, you have to get man of the match. I think that was a bit... Some of the man of the match awards in UCL Fantasy are a bit strange, if I'm being honest, but, happy with the points anyway. Still got man of the match points from Benzema and Lewandowski. So, and, can't complain too much. Obviously, I shouldn't have got rid of Foden, but, I just had a feeling he might get benched. But, I overthought it, and in the end, I should have kept him. Hummel's got the dumbest red card ever. Yeah, I heard that it wasn't a red card. It is what it is. I think Dortmund could have actually kept the clean sheet there, so Thomas Meunier would have been a decent option. So unfortunately got 1 point for me there. Thanks, mate, for the live stream and good luck this week. Thank you, Chris. Same to you, mate, and good luck. UCL Fantasy is tough. I got 95 this week and got a red arrow, yeah. I got over 100 and, the smallest of green arrows. So, yeah. Everyone's doing well. That's the thing. Most people are doing so well. 120 points on the wildcard in UCL Fantasy. Still pissed about Cancelo not getting man of the match, though. With 120 points, that's incredible. But yeah, Cancelo should have got the points. I'm not even pissed. I just think it's common sense they should have got it. Thoughts? I did Wilson to Antonio. I think Antonio long-term is a really good choice. I just think the timing of getting him in, not too sure about that, but I'd rather have him than Wilson. I know the deadline has passed, but who would you bench? Start Adam, Armstrong or Hwang? I probably would have benched Armstrong, but I'm not really too confident. Son gets a massive haul this game week. I'm not too surprised if he does, to be fair. He wasn't great in the Europa Conference League, but he was very sharp for the goal. We've got the exact same identical teams, except I have Havertz instead of Trent in my starting 11. Even I have Livramento as my first substitute. Yeah. But, I mean, that's the way the game goes sometimes. And I think you're in a better position to get Son. You can do Havertz to Son easily, because I'm not really too confident about doing Foden to Son, even though Son is probably the better option. Great content, Dylan. Thanks. I've got the same lineup except Mbumo instead of Antonio. Ooh, yeah, you know what? I think your lineup is probably slightly better than on paper this week. If I had the exact same team as you, I probably would have done the same thing. Thanks, man. Good luck for the game week, and come on, you Gunners. Thank you, mate. And yeah, hopefully Arsenal do win. They should. And maybe they have a chance for the top 4. But honestly speaking, I don't think they will get the top 4. And then Liverpool after. Oh, that's going to be a tough game. But yeah, thank you, mate. Good luck. I ended up benching Trent and Antonio. Good lord, this could be bad. Yeah, benching Trent and Antonio. Oof, that is a bit of a tough one. But I mean, if you look at it, I'm starting both. One of them could blank. It's very likely. How many points did you get for Limitless? Once again, over 100. I'm not sure exactly how much. Maybe 104. Everyone, scored points except for my goalkeeper. Both my goalkeepers blanked. Chesney, I think it was. Or was it Chesney? I think it was Courtois and Mendy. Or was it? It might have been Chesney, actually. I didn't have enough money to get Mendy, unfortunately, in that. I can't remember. Alvarez played, he just got a yellow. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he played for 45 minutes and he got subbed off. So very unfortunate there. Obviously, Ten Hag was looking to prevent any red cards from happening. I rolled my transfer. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably looking to do something similar at the moment anyway. I might change my mind as the week goes on. Thoughts on Antonio to Wilson, my game week transfer? I talked about this already. I think that's... oh, you said it the other way around last time, Jammy boy. I mean, Wilson could be a good punt for the next few, but once again with Wilson, he's injury prone, and yeah, I don't trust Newcastle in particular, but Wilson himself is a very good finisher and a good player. Keep Mount. I mean, in the coming weeks, I probably would rather have Foden, Jota, if Firmino's still out, and obviously Son. Now it's locked, but which one would you have gone for? I can't see... Oh, Livramento or Region. I would have started Livramento, mate. Tony or Jota next 3 to 4 weeks. I would still rather have Tony. But, of course, if you're looking at, form and, who's looking more lively and all of that, maybe you have to say Jota. But, yeah, Tony for me. Cancelo, Livramento. I would have started Cancelo. Bench Trent for Duffy, Pinnock, Cancelo and Rudiger. Antonio was benched for Gallagher. I mean... I can see why he did that, and to be fair, that could still end up paying off for you. But I would have started Trent, honestly. But I can see why he benched Antonio. Havertz and Salah blanked in UCL, could have gotten Chiesa. Yeah, Chiesa was an injury out actually, but he ended up playing, he got the goal. So yeah, UCL Fantasy as well is a bit of a headache because there's so many people reported to have illnesses or, they're injured and then they end up playing. So that's how it can go sometimes. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. I'm not sure how many people are still in the chat. But I think it's still quite a fair amount, so obviously very much appreciated. Yeah, 156 people still watching. Wow, thanks a lot. The lineup is out in 15 minutes. If you want, I can still keep on going, and then we'll end around 7 o'clock. When there's a Saturday deadline, we tend to stream on the Friday around 7 p.m. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Obviously, massively appreciated. Thank you to Yarang, who's a channel member once again, and to Aranya, to Liphook, to the Flying Dutchman, and to, of course, all the other mods and channel members. Thank you so much. And also just everyone else who's been waiting patiently, putting very good questions and comments forward, and who's also put some very good suggestions themselves. Good luck this game week. If you would get Son next game week, as it's annoying to see people raising his price by buying him without waiting for the international break or not, what would you have done? Buy or wait? If I was in a position where I could, for example, do Townsend to Son, and if I didn't make an early transfer, I wouldn't be able to afford it, I would just make the early transfer, take the plunge, as I've been doing recently. But otherwise, if I can afford to wait and I won't be priced out, I would just wait for it. Had a decent week in UCL Fantasy. I got 82 points, but if I captained Lewandowski, would have gotten triple digits. Yeah, Lewandowski is absolutely insane, isn't he? And I was tempted to captain Sane, but in the end, I looked at Lewandowski's recent league form, and I just thought this guy's scoring every single game, so I went with him. But yeah, Lewandowski, he's just such an easy captaincy choice nowadays. It's a bit like Messi and Ronaldo back in the day. Keep Ronaldo or buy Kane? It's a tough one, mate, because Ronaldo has really good fixtures from Game Week 15 onwards. In your situation, I'd be looking to get Son in midfield by downgrading one of your other strikers or defenders, potentially. Yeah, I had an insane benching dilemma. I think most of us did, to be fair. If you didn't, it's kind of easier this week to kind of navigate through the pain, potentially. But yeah, thank you, Oms. Yorang says, banking on the differentials to get the green arrow. I think most teams have the same team, at least 6 to 9 players. Yeah, maybe going for the kind of highly owned players like Antonio is not the right thing to do, but you know, it's kind of easy to say. All the decisions we're making this week, they look good on paper. You have to back the decision making over the outcome ultimately. Keep going, don't stop. I'll try. My voice is though really, really struggling, I'll be honest. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome, Alwat. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yes, please stay. So for next week, Jota to Son is a good move. I mean, it's a bit of a weird time to get rid of Jota because obviously Firmino could be out for several weeks or months, and Jota could be one of the best in class around 7.4, 7.5 million. I still prefer Foden, and if you can do that move, I would get Son in. Curious question, what do you think about doing the Bundesliga or La Liga Fantasy League? Oh, there is one. I think for Bundesliga I'm aware of that, but La Liga Fantasy League, I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. I think UCL Fantasy and FPL is enough for me. I also do Sky just on the side as well. I'm doing well in that. Yeah, probably not at this moment in time. And what in Bundesliga, what are you going to do? Just captain Lewandowski every week? But yeah, I mean, obviously there's more to it than that. I put in Livramento on the first bench and Benrahma second if Broca and Mbeumo don't play. Yeah, I mean, that looks good. I honestly would have played Livramento over Broca, but the rest looks fine. And that's what I probably would have done. Keep Saar. I would rather have Ramsdale. He said Livramento. Oh, no, he's probably going to bite me this week, isn't he? But yeah, Ramsdale, Sanchez, Gaeta. I'd rather play one of them or have one of them over Saar. Who would you choose long-term? Gallagher, Mbeumo, Smith-Rowe? At this moment in time, I have to say probably Smith-Rowe, but looking at the fixtures for the next few, you probably would have to say Mbeumo. So I think each one of them have a different argument. So Gallagher, probably the best up until the end of the season. Smith-Rowe is looking like the best right now. But then you have to factor in, he does play Liverpool next. There's some tough games coming up. I think Manchester United in a few weeks' time as well. But if I had to pick, right now it has to be Smith-Rowe. But of course, all of them good options. Jota coming in again in the picture really messes up the plans. Yeah, 7.5 million mid playing up top for the most attacking team that also has very good fixtures. How can you pass on that exactly? And let me actually bring up some stats again. So let's check teams and their stats. So team stat cards. Let's get Liverpool's stats up. They're absolutely incredible. If we're being completely honest, hopefully this loads up very soon. But yeah, go on, load, mate, load. Maybe the graphics are down at the moment, but yeah. In the meantime, I'll answer any last questions. Watch Bruno become essential. He could be. I think most people are obviously thinking of getting Ronaldo in, but Bruno could actually be the one to go for. His creativity, I think at one point he's averaging 5 chances created per game. So you have to say a very good creator. And if he has penalties on his belt, which I'm not sure if he does, but if the Portuguese man does, then yeah, of course, Bruno could be a fantastic option. Let's see if the actual graphics loaded. They haven't. Oh, that's great. Fabi Dozy. Who would you choose? Oh yeah, I answered that already. Starting Antonio over Cancelo. I mean, that's a 50-50 decision, ultimately. I probably would have gone for Cancelo, but there's no right or wrong there, I think. Vinicius is called up for Brazil in place of Firmino. It means Firmino has got an injury. Yeah, he's got an injury anyway. Klopp confirmed it. But yeah, he's probably going to be out for several weeks. Maybe he's going to miss game week 12 and 13 also. The Jota transfers in scare me a lot. I literally just sold him. Yeah, that's why making early transfers can bite you. I made one myself, getting in Reece James for Diaz. That could have backfired. I also got in Chilwell and Foden early last week for a -4 hit. But yeah, I think Jota could be really good now. A 15-year-old boy will play for men's Romania World Cup qualifiers. Wow. 15-year-old, that is, I wouldn't say it's a record. Aguero, I think, made his debut, his club debut at 15 years of age. I think Maradona for Argentina around 15 or 16. Also, Odegaard, I think, also made his debut for Norway at the age of 15. Jota's going to start for sure. Yeah, he will. He will do. Do you think Trent is a must-have for this week? I decided to get Chilwell instead and get Trent later. Yeah, but I wouldn't be too worried. I think Chilwell should outscore him this week, but Trent long-term, you want to have him. Okay, I have Armstrong as one of my forwards. Dumb, or do you think he has a chance to get points? I think if he starts, which he should based on his recent performances, he has a good chance of getting points. I'd be concerned about him long term. Broca could, displace him. If it isn't today, and we'll find out in 10 minutes' time, it could be ahead of Game Week 12 or something else. Can't wait for the Discord to help a lot. Yeah, I'll open one maybe after the stream is over, and then I'll put the link and all of that. But yeah, I have to set up and stuff. I haven't done one yet. I've just got a Discord there, and I've had some chats there. But yeah, I'll probably open a Discord channel up. Was just going for the YouTube terms. So here in India, due to RBI rules, so we have to reactivate each month. So inconvenient. I'll be a member as long as you keep going and get me the green arrows. Yeah, but what if you get the red arrows based on my advice? You'll probably block me. But yeah, obviously, thank you very much. I didn't know that. And that is an explanation for that. That's why you've got the loyalty badge still, despite becoming a member today. But obviously, thank you very much for doing that. Obviously, you didn't have to. I sold Jota for Son yesterday night. Yeah, I mean, I still think that's the right decision. Son is going to be a better option than Jota. But for Jota's price, he's probably going to be the second best behind Foden. So it's looking really good. Imagine having Son, Jota, Foden and Salah. Maybe a Eureka moment there. Force on Ziyech if he continues to start. I mean, he looked very lively against Newcastle. Obviously had a goal disallowed. And against Malmo, he scored. He could be a decent option, but is he going to continue to start? I'm not too sure. And then you have Lukaku. I think he's actually started running today. He said it himself. Then you have Timo Werner. He could be added to the mix. Mason Mount, when he, overcomes this tooth infection, which, prevented him from eating properly and he lost a bit of weight. That could become an issue of Ziyech. So I still would not really go for him. And also Chelsea, I keep on saying this, they can score goals from so many different avenues, including their fullbacks. So it's a bit of a weird one. Put up a poll, Ronaldo or Messi. Okay, that's a good idea. Or who should win Ballon d'Or? I think most people will go for Lewandowski, if not Messi. So I'll put those polls out. Okay, that's a good idea. Or let's go for the Ballon d'Or one. How about that? I mean, that technically does factor in, but obviously some Ronaldo fans would probably admit he doesn't deserve it this year. I brought in Havertz and Foden this week. Foden scored a brace against Brighton, and since then both of them have returned at least some points in the last two game weeks that followed. Havertz to Son will be an easy move, true. Yeah, I think Foden is still a really good choice in general, and he's better than Havertz, of course. If I had Havertz this week, I probably wouldn't get rid of him, especially for Foden who faces United, but Foden is just a better option. Just to prevent the Messi-Ronaldo kind of hate. Barcelona-Real Madrid. I mean, I'll be honest with Barcelona. Look, I like the way they played, and obviously they produced probably the best team I've seen on club level, but I hated the amount of times they kind of, you could say bribed the refs or whatever, or just, I don't know, but it was something very fishy went on in the UEFA Champions League games against Chelsea, against Arsenal, sending off Van Persie for not hearing the referee. That's completely ridiculous. In the Champions League final, I think the Eto'o goal was offside, and also they could have, not sent off Lehmann and kept the 11v11. So I don't like Barcelona for that, but what I do like is Guardiola. I like the dream team. I like Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, of course, Mascherano, David Villa. So I probably would say Barcelona. Also with Real Madrid, I think, obviously it doesn't apply to all of the fans, but a lot of them are ungrateful. The same does apply though to Barcelona in a way. This is literally what I'm thinking. Havertz to Gray, Vardy to Son, Jota, Hwang for a -4 to pair with Salah, Foden midfield. Yeah, I mean, that midfield just looks exceptional, doesn't it? If you didn't have Foden yet, would you get Foden or Jota? I'd still get Foden. But of course, Jota would be appealing. Newcastle have the worst stats as expected goals against, and shots conceded, and have never won against Brighton. Plus, Brighton have won both of last year's fixtures 3-0. I'll bench Duffy. Yeah, but Duffy might not start. It could be, for example, Veltman in place of him or Lamptey. So let's wait and see. But yeah, it's not really ideal to bench him, is it? Thoughts on Xavi going to Barca? Yeah, I mean, I think he's actually going to get reaction out of them. I don't think he's going to win the league this season. I think it'll be Real Madrid, if not Atletico. But I think Barcelona could finish in the top 4. They'll start building the blocks. It will take a bit of time. I don't even think Barcelona could actually afford paying his release clause, which is 5 million, which is absolutely insane. But I think if they can start, to mitigate the financial problems they're having, I think that over the years, Xavi could actually be a decent manager for them. Had to have a drink to sleep last week because I couldn't get over the thought I benched Ramsdale and played Foster. Yeah, when that happened and when I saw Ramsdale making all the saves and, getting the clean sheet in the end, I just knew I was in for a bad week. So, yeah, it was a mad one, wasn't it? Haaland to Madrid or to City. I think City, the reason why they haven't gone for any of these strikers this year was to get Haaland next year. Thoughts on Jesus going forward? I mean, he's a decent option, but to cover City, I'd rather have Cancelo, Diaz, and up front Foden. That's what I would do. Mbappe or Haaland? It's a tough one, isn't it? I think in the last year or two, you'd argue Haaland has been the better goal scorer and maybe player. But maybe I'd say Mbappe's a better dribbler. And I think if Mbappe, as he's been doing recently, being a bit less selfish, I think he could actually just make that next, step and go to another level, and that will make him better than Haaland. But I think it's really tight. But I'd probably say overall it has to be Mbappe. But in the last year or two, Haaland has been better. If Duffy doesn't start, surely he doesn't come on. Yeah, I'd say so as well. Especially if they're already winning by a lot of goals. Let's wait and see though. Barca put 1 billion release clause on Fati. Yeah, even on other players as well. I'm not too sure, but players like I think Griezmann had a release clause that was completely ridiculous, or Dembele. Yeah, Barcelona just absolute shambles, to be honest. But to be fair, the Fati one does make sense. They put 220 million or something on Neymar, and PSG ended up getting him. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense, to be fair. So let's actually put this. Who do you think deserves to win the Ballon d'Or? Let's see. So should we put Jorginho in this? Jesus Christ. The fact he's actually a nominee is actually kind of scary in a way. Let's put these options. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll put Salah in there. We'll put Benzema and we'll put Lewandowski and Messi. I can only put 4 options, by the way. So yeah, there you go. Obviously, just kind of another question to answer. When will you create a Discord? Probably after this stream is over. So we have an international break, don't we? So I probably will be doing it over the coming days. I'm not sure exactly when. I do have, I think other streams to do. I do have a reaction stream to do. Maybe tomorrow or Sunday. I'll let you guys know. And also other videos. So wow, 40% of you have already voted for Messi. Oh, and Lewandowski. Oh, so 15 votes, and both of them are leading. I'm guessing Lewandowski will take the lead eventually. Yep, it's 50% now. Wow, 29% for Messi, 8% for Benzema, and 12% for Salah. Yeah, I'm not too surprised by the Lewandowski one. Let's see. Will Rudiger play against Burnley? I believe so. I'd be very surprised if he's benched. And also Thiago Silva and Christensen. They need some height in there. My team for the week: Ramsdale, Cancelo, Trent, James, Livramento, Salah, Son, Rafinha, Mbumo, Vardy, Tony. That's looking really good, Yorang. Yeah, I think for this week you're looking pretty good, to be fair. That's actually looking fantastic. Fantastic. Messi, go. If someone new came in and did what Messi did last year, everyone would be saying Messi. I mean, I'm a bit biased, but I would probably agree, to be honest. Because, for example, in 2018, Messi had, I think, the most goals and assists combined. But people said, well, he flopped with Argentina in the World Cup. But then Lewandowski, yeah, he had a decent Euros, but Poland ultimately got knocked out very early in the Champions League as well. Messi, yeah, he got knocked out early, but won the Copa del Rey, won Copa America, winning against Brazil on Brazilian soil. And by the way, for any anyone who has voted for Lewandowski or anyone else, according to reports, I think it's RTP, so the biggest radio and TV station in Portugal, they have said that the winner has been announced and that it is indeed Lionel Messi who has won the Ballon d'Or, and he's already been told. Obviously, let's wait and see, but they are the most reliable source in Portugal, and they're kind of like the BBC from the UK in Portugal. Let's wait and see, but yeah. Benzema? Question mark, lol. Well, he's had a really good individual year, but I mean, I think he deserves it more than Jorginho. I know Jorginho won all these awards, but Benzema has been better, I think, than him. Definitely Lewandowski, says Yorang. Overall, do you prefer UCL Fantasy or FPL? That's a great question. I mean, I'm doing much better in UCL Fantasy. I like some stuff of UCL Fantasy which FPL doesn't have. So I like the Limitless chip. I think that's a really good idea. I also like the ball recovery system. It just opens avenues up for players like Kante, Jorginho, and makes them very good options. And also being able to change players from your bench, having more control. But at the same time, that is a part and parcel of FPL. Having players on your bench, tearing your hair out, or having 12 points coming off your bench another week. So I don't know. They're both kind of. I like the fact they're both different, but I would like FPL to start introducing stuff like ball recoveries. Sorry, he's Benrahma. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no, Benrahma for Ballon d'Or. No, Benzema was very consistent. Dude, don't laugh at him. Yeah, no, he meant Benrahma. Duffy and Veltman 1 yellow card away from a 1-match ban. Just saying. Yeah, so that's a good point. But either way, I wouldn't want to have any of them, to be honest. I'd rather have Livramento. The lineup should be out, by the way. All this talk about Ballon d'Ors and stuff. And yeah, Lewandowski still leading 44% of the vote, 30% for Messi. It's funny though, I think if this was made around June, I think Messi would be clear in these votes, and also just in general. I think most people now think Lewandowski should win it, but based on what RTP said, it will be Messi winning it. Let's wait and see, of course. I think Messi deserves it personally, but obviously Lewandowski as an individual season has been fantastic, but you also have to bear in mind it's for 2021, it's for the whole year, and the voting has already closed. So the hat-trick, for example, Lewandowski scored, that actually doesn't count or won't have an effect on the proceedings. So let's get the lineup out for Southampton against Aston Villa. So let's see, these are possible lineups. That's not what we want. All right, I'm going to check Twitter now. Lever deserved from last year, yeah, but he shouldn't get one this year because of last year, if you know what I mean. Obviously, he has been really good this year. If anything, he should just get one for 2020, and Messi should get it for 2021. Just saying, but I think that's too logical for French football to do. To be fair, let's try and see the lineups. He should have the COVID Ballon d'Or, says J. Martin. What, for Lewandowski? Yeah, maybe. Had that benching down between Mazzouri and Sheriff FC Traore, and went with Traore in the end. And guess what? Traore ended up scoring a header from a set piece in the last minute of the game. Yeah, exactly. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think Lewandowski deserved to win it last year because he was phenomenal, but Messi should win it this year. I agree, to be honest. I think last year, 2020, I think that was probably Messi's most disappointing season, but he still, he became the first player since Henry to have 20 plus goals and assists. I think his standards are just on another level. This year, I think it has to be Messi. He's got the most man of the match awards, most dribbles, so many things. Even goal contributions. I think from the period, it's basically for the whole year, he was literally leading for most of it. Obviously, Lewandowski has now gone clear in recent months, but I just think Messi's been the better player. Let's see. FPL and UCL Fantasy have been quite kind to me recently, especially with substitutions. Not for me, mate. Not FPL. UCL Fantasy, yes. I've been doing incredible in that, but FPL, no. Messi deserves, says Mome. Should I have Son and Tony or Kane and Mbumo? Son and Tony, but it's very tight between them. Well, good thing the calendar year doesn't end in June. Yeah, true. That is a good point. But I think in terms of the voting, it's pretty much from October, from 2020, up until October 2021. That's how it is. Let's see. I think most people are saying Lewandowski more because he didn't win it last year. Yeah, I agree. What Messi has achieved this year is personally a great feat for him, but Lewandowski is surely the best player this year. Fair enough. I mean, I can understand why. Brock is on the bench. I'm not too surprised by that. He just came back. And let me actually find the lineups, for Christ's sake. I mean, I can't find on Twitter. And live score is pretty unreliable sometimes. They still show me the possible lineups. Confirmed lineup. So for Southampton, no surprises. McCarthy's in goal. Livramento. Oh, please don't. Please. If you are going to get points, come off my bench. Bednarek, Salisu, Walker Peters, Elianusi, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Armstrong, Che Adams. So Armstrong and Armstrong both starting. And then for Villa, Martinez, Target, Mings, Twanzebe, Cash, McGinn, Nakamba, Bailey, Buendia, El Ghazi and Ollie Watkins. Yeah, okay, fair enough. A few injuries for Villa as well. I think Southampton could actually keep the clean sheet there. Lewandowski broke Muller record. True, but then again, Messi, most goals for a South American player. But obviously, I think people won't be rating that too much now. What do you think about the free transfers in UCL and FPL? Do you think FPL is stingy with free transfers? That's a good question. I obviously would love to have more free transfers, but then again, it makes it more tactical and you have to think more behind every decision. Is this for the Ballon d'Or for this year? Yeah. And like I said, RTP, a very reliable source in Portugal, have said that Messi is or has already been confirmed as the winner. Also, your advice on Twitter really helped. Really helped me be more confident about going with my gut. Thanks a lot again. No problem, mate. And obviously, very nice emoji there, by the way, Aranya. But in terms of Twitter, Sometimes I just chat absolute nonsense, don't I? Just like on here. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. It means a lot. I really don't understand why they can't just do the 2020 and 2021 award this year. Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. It just seems a bit fishy to me. They should both, Lewandowski should be a Ballon d'Or winner, but then again, so should Suarez. He probably deserves one as well over the years gone by. And yeah, for me, Messi should win it this year. But if Lewandowski wins it, you can't complain too much, I guess. But for me, it has to be Messi. Thiago Silva was played in the last 2 games, and considering his age, Tuchel will not start. And also, that's a good point, Durgesh. And also, Thiago Silva has the World Cup qualifiers. He faces Argentina. That's a really tough game for both teams, so that's a good point. So Chelsea's defence should be Reece James, Azpilicueta, Chalobah, Rudiger, Chilwell. Reece James can play as the right centre-back. Yeah, I don't think James will play there, though, but I agree. I think that's what the lineup could be. Adam Stance, Broca bench, yep. My opinion is that the Ballon d'Or as an individual award, that's fact. I think Lewandowski deserves it this year. He's been far above everyone. He's broken all sorts of individual records and has the most goals. Yeah, that's a good point, to be fair. I just think that, in the years gone by as well, Messi had the best stats and he didn't win it. But of course, I think the 2018 one was the kind of most confusing. Modric won it. Salah had a better year, in my opinion. Messi had a better year. He was 5th. I mean, that's just completely nonsense, to be honest. And Ronaldo as well. Probably should have won it as well. This year he's won trophies, both team and player. No other striker comes close to him. True, but Champions League disappointing. Euros disappointing. Then you look at, for example, the German Cup. I think Bayern got knocked out very early, so it's only really the Bundesliga that they won. But then again, you could say the same for Messi. In La Liga, I think he actually carried them to a title race, but then in the end, Lenglet conceding penalties every single game, let them down towards the end. They were actually, Barcelona were right up there, up until the very end. Ballon d'Or should be decided from the records until a day before the awards. I agree. I mean, that's pretty much the point of it, isn't it? And your logic, Messi should have won more than 5 Ballon d'Ors in the 2010s. I mean, I can see there's already a kind of, some tension in the chat. We don't normally have it. Let's end the poll. But as I'm not surprised by this, by the way, I expected Lewandowski to be leading in this poll, and I can understand that completely. But for me, it's just my opinion. I think Messi should win it. I hope Broca doesn't play 1 point. It'd be awful if you got a 1-pointer for you. Maybe 1 or 2 more, but not loads more. CR7, Messi dominated the 2010s. In my opinion, Modric never should have won it 2018. I agree. I think 2018, it could easily have been any of Salah, Ronaldo, Messi, etc. Even Hazard actually had a really good shout. I think he was the best player in the World Cup, and he was just fantastic. But I think, it should have been Messi or Ronaldo that year. And yeah, I agree with that. I think Messi should have probably more than 5 Ballon d'Ors. Obviously, he has 6 right now. I think he could even arguably have 7 or 8, but he might probably have 7 once come, the 29th of November. Henry not winning a Ballon d'Or is a joke. Tell me about it, mate. And even Suarez to an extent, but Henry was the worst one. I think Nedved had a really good season. Obviously, it's not all about stats, but Henry was the best player, in my opinion, for several years in the early 2000s. I can't really understand how he didn't win at least 1. Probably 2 or 3, I think he should have deserved. So should Xavi and Iniesta, so should many goalkeepers and defenders over the years. But yeah, I think Busquets, for example, not winner Ballon d'Or, but for example, Jorginho's going to be in the top 5 this year. Busquets, I think, has had multiple seasons where he's won more than Jorginho. He's won the World Cup, Champions League, etc. And he's actually just been better overall, and he's never been in the top 20. So yeah. Do you think Broca will be subbed on? I think if Southampton need a goal, I think they will. But otherwise, I'd be a bit worried though. I think I would be worried of him coming on. It's a very big possibility, but it ultimately depends on what Southampton need from the game. So yeah, as you can see from the poll here, very interesting. Only 94 votes, so a small sample size, but 47%, nearly half of you going for Lewandowski, 26% for Messi, 15% for Salah, and 9% for Benzema. I wonder how many would have voted for Jorginho if I put him in there. If Ballon d'Or is a personal award, why do trophies team award count towards it? I mean, this is how they describe it. It's a combination of the team and individual awards. But yeah, ultimately, it should be who is the best player of the year. But I think sometimes they kind of change it around. So, for example, like I alluded to earlier, in 2018, Messi finished 5th. When he had the most goals and assists combined, he was the best individual player. But then you can say from a trophies perspective, Ronaldo deserved to win it. He had the Champions League and all of that. So ultimately, it's a bit of a flawed one. 2013, Ronaldo won no trophy, but he was the best individually. He scored 69 goals that year, his personal best, and he won the Ballon d'Or. But Ribery, who won a treble, he didn't win it. So it's kind of a difficult one. You can never appease everyone. That's ultimately the main thing. Is La Liga more competitive than Bundesliga? It used to be, but right now, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'd probably say it's a similar level, but I think in years gone by when Ronaldo and Messi won La Liga, I think it was much better than Bundesliga, and it was proven by the amount of trophies on the European stage that those clubs won. Barcelona also conceded the most goals from individual areas. Had they not, they could have won La Liga. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, but of course, stats can't really cover this sort of thing. And like I said, I think Messi was a big part of why Barcelona were in the title race up until the last few games of the season. And then I think he even scored in certain games. And then Lenglet in the very same match would concede a penalty. And then Barcelona would drop points. And even, the fact that Messi had such a great season under Koeman, it just speaks volumes in my opinion. And also, something that people don't really talk about now, obviously he won the Copa America, but it's not just that. He was the first player in history to win the MVP award, the Golden Boot, the Golden Playmaker, and to win the competition. That's never been done before. That's obviously a very big plus. And if, as our TP suggests, if he has won the award already, that's probably one of the main reasons why. Modric won that year because of the UCL World Cup, yep. These voters value team trophies too much, and don't forget bias always play a role with these rigged awards. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Modric is an exceptional player, and it's kind of a good thing that he does, he gets that kind of accolade, but I think Xavi and Iniesta, I think they're way better than Modric, if I'm being honest. Maybe not way better, but they are better than Modric, and they probably could have gotten Ballon d'Or or two as well. But yeah, I think individual awards, I think the team awards are sometimes valued too highly. Henry, Xavi and Suarez now winning a Ballon d'Or. Not winning a Ballon d'Or is a travesty, I agree. Especially Henry, based on the fact that in certain years he was by far the best player in the world. With Suarez, fair enough, there was Ronaldo in his prime, Messi, and all of this, but yeah. And Xavi, maybe arguably in 2010 or 2011, even 2009, he could have won it, to be fair. I'm sorry, what players like Xavi and Iniesta never win for a reason? Only alien-like players should be rewarded for being a freak of a footballer. Yeah, fair enough. I just think that Xavi and Iniesta, though, they're so underrated, and they're a big reason why Barcelona was so good back in the day. But obviously, yeah, when you have someone like Messi, scoring 91 goals in a year, how can you win it over him? Then that's where the UEFA Best Player Award comes into play. I know it's obviously specifically, focused on UEFA competitions, but for example, when Messi scored 91 goals in a year, Iniesta won the 2012 one, but it does make sense. He did win the Euros. He was probably their best player. And he won, he didn't win the Champions League, but he had a good run there, finished in the semi-finals. It's a difficult one though, isn't it? Bundesliga is a farmers' league because Real Madrid have more UCL trophies than all the clubs in Bundesliga combined, yeah. So it's a farmers' league, and of course Lewandowski and a strong team can score many goals. Look, obviously it's going to be a bit of a controversial one. I think Lewandowski, look, he's had a great individual season. No one can, argue about that. And individually, he has been the best or the second best player this year. But I think the competition in Bundesliga is next to non-existent. Bayern are by far the best team in there, and Lewandowski is pretty much just the top goal scorer. But if you remove Lewandowski from Bayern, they still win the league. That's just the way I see it. Too much politics. Messi will get it because he plays for Paris today. I don't think so. I don't think it's because of that. I think it's probably because of the name, as you say. Also because he's been very good. That's another thing. And also the Copa America, like I said, what he did was incredible, and it's never been done before in history. But obviously then some people will then knock down the Copa America, and it's not really too surprising. Bundesliga kind of underrated just because Bayern does whatever they want in Germany. Yeah, because I think just the other day it was Bayer Leverkusen, they beat Real Betis 4-0. I think it was yesterday actually. So I think recently Bundesliga has been better, but when Ronaldo and Messi were there, when La Liga had 3 really strong teams, even 4 or 5, and Sevilla were dominating Europa League, La Liga was probably the best league in the world, probably better than the Premier League. In terms of league winners, the Bundesliga is not competitive at all. The top 2-4 is though. Bayern just buy from the rivals and weaken their opponents. Yep, Sabitzer, Lewandowski, Hummels, all these players they buy from their rivals, they just severely weaken them. Xavi managing Pedri, Araujo and Gavi would be really interesting, to be honest. Yeah. Araujo, I think he's injured, isn't he now? But he's a decent centre-back, but yeah, I'd be more kind of excited or willing to see what he does with Pedri and Gavi. David Villa is so underrated. Yeah, he is such a good player. He was one of my favourite strikers around the 2008, period. Who won ahead of Henry? Nedved. So, for example, in 2003, to be fair, I think it's because of awards. So, Nedved won Serie A, and I think he won other competitions. And as for Henry, I think he only won an FA Cup in 2003, but he got 24 goals, 20 assists in the league, and that is an all-time record in terms of most goal contributions in a single season. That's better than Suarez, better than Ronaldo, better than Salah, etc. So for me, Henry, and just in general, he had the most goal contributions of any player. But look, I don't want to just say it's all about stats, because it isn't. But Henry was literally the best player on the planet, and he was so good in big games and whatever. So yeah, I don't know how Henry never won it that year. Then in the other years, it would have been Ronaldinho, and you can understand that. But I think one of the seasons Ronaldinho won, I think you could arguably say Henry deserved it over him. He deserved at least one or two. When Lewandowski scores as many goals as Messi, then we can compare. Yeah, but he never will, though. I mean, Messi also has the assists and everything to go with it. But right now, you have to say, over the last 2-3 years, Lewandowski is a better goal scorer than Messi. There's no doubt about it. But it's not all about goals. That's the way I see it. There should be a transparent rating system for the award. Points for goals, trophies. That's a fantastic point. This I feel system is bogus. Yeah, they really should. That's a fantastic point. They should have a rating criteria which is transparent, which is fair, and then you can understand why a certain player wins it. Because right now it sometimes feels like, well, one year you kind of value the international trophy, or whoever wins Euro and World Cup, or World Cup if they have a really good run, etc. So that's a really good point. La Liga changed after Messi and Ronaldo, a lot more tougher than before. I don't think it's a lot more tougher. It's a lot tougher, I think, for those teams to win it, but I think the quality is drastically reduced, because who is the best player in La Liga now? It's Benzema. Of course, he's fantastic, but he's not a Ronaldo or a Messi, is he? So there's just not as many world-class players now in the league. Before, I mean, remember in 2012, La Liga literally had an entire 11 in the World 11, which is mind-boggling. Maybe they shouldn't have. By the way, Dylan, are you aware that your chat is severely behind on your screen? I was just catching up to some comments, to be fair. He scores more. It's just that he also plays for a team who buy every upcoming talent from their rivals, hence making the competition completely one-sided. Yeah, I mean, but that isn't Lewandowski's fault, isn't it? I mean, obviously he decided to join Bayern, but he did it at Dortmund as well, and he is doing it for Poland now. Back in the day, I know some Polish people, they were telling me Lewandowski's great for Dortmund and Bayern, whatever, but for Poland he doesn't do it. Now he does. But yeah, you have to say, look, it will be Messi or Lewandowski winning the Ballon d'Or, and based on reports, it's going to be Messi for a 7th time. Should I do a -12 to take in Son and Ronaldo? Because right now I have 0 in the bank. -12 this early? I probably wouldn't, mate. And by the way, obviously, thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. Let me show you what my team looks like for next week. Oh my God, Ramsdale away to Liverpool. I'll probably still play him though. I'm not making a goalkeeper transfer. Liverpool away to Norwich. Yeah, get into the side. Double Chelsea defence against Leicester. I mean, look, there's a lot of tough fixtures here, as you can see. Vardy against Chelsea, I could bench him. This is not looking easy. I mean, even Townsend away to Man City. So, sometimes you got to look ahead. But yeah, I'm definitely starting Liverpool, I think. Other than that, who am I going to be captaining? Salah at home to Arsenal, probably will. As for vice captain, I'd actually be tempted by Foden away. It looks tough on paper, but Everton have been poor. But yeah, the team doesn't look too good in game week 12, to be honest. Might be a good time to wildcard, I guess, but obviously I've already used it. Just talking about people who haven't used it already. I've seen people already activating it after the deadline has passed today. But yeah, this team doesn't look too good, is it? Who would you bench? Obviously, just a quick kind of show of votes. Who would you bench for Livramento? Because I'm not leaving him on the bench when he's playing Norwich. He could get a goal, or an assist, or a clean sheet, or maybe all three combined. But yeah, that's how my team is looking like at the moment for game week 12. And City, Chelsea, and United buy from Africa. Wow, okay, got a bit of everything here today. Dortmund beat Real Madrid 4-0, and 4 goals from Lewandowski, and Ronaldo was in his prime. Yeah, it was 4-1. Yeah, I remember that. And then Real Madrid won the other game 2-0. Lewandowski was very unfortunate not to score in that game. He hit the crossbar in the away fixture. Yeah, I mean, like I said already, Lewandowski has proven it at Dortmund. Now he's doing it at Poland and Bayern. And you can't say he's a bad player. Of course, he's one of the best players in the world. He's the best goal scorer in the last 2 or 3 years. But I just think as an overall player, it's clear. How is Messi the best dribbler, best playmaker and goal scorer? I mean, look, historically, he is the best goal scorer along with Ronaldo. Right now, I literally just said Lewandowski's the best. But in terms of the Copa America award, or the Copa America which I was referring to, he actually won the best goal scorer, the best playmaker. He got the most goals and assists, and he won the MVP. But best playmaker, I mean, you have to say he's in the top 3 for that. He's in the top 3 for goal scorers. Maybe now you'd probably have to say Lewandowski, Haaland. Yeah, that's the top 2. And who knows? Maybe Messi. Yeah, I'd say he's still 3rd on the top 3. Best dribbler, he's still the best dribbler, definitely. Currently, the award based on journalists voting for winner, so the bias kicks in. Yeah, but then you could say the same if fans voted. Everyone will be kind of, Chelsea fans will vote for Jorginho. Before it was Kante. United fans would vote for Ronaldo. Obviously, Bayern and Poland fans would vote for Lewandowski, and then Argentina and Barcelona fans and PSG will go for Messi. So that's how it is. Dude, getting an award is one thing, but talent is talent. Yeah, and ultimately, yeah, we know who the most talented one is. But I have to keep it objective. Messi is still the best player, followed by Salah today. I think right now, look, obviously, a lot of it is made of Messi started Ligue 1. But if he had started really well in Ligue 1, they'd say it's the Farmers League, let's be honest. But I think the top 3 players in the world right now, I still think it's Messi, Lewandowski, Salah. That's what I think. But Lewandowski is more of a goal scorer than anything else. As an overall player, you could argue he's not top 3, but he probably still would be based on the amount of goals he's getting, which is just absolutely unbelievable. Le Chelsea won Ballon d'Or, not Messi. With that finishing, I don't think so. If Neymar wasn't so mature back in the day, we would still be witnessing MSN right now. Sad times, depressing when Ney was happy for Messi to join PSG. Yeah, but even then, with Barcelona, their situation, with Bartomeu just pretty much screwing them over for years, MSN would have pretty much dissipated anyway. So ultimately it's Bartomeu, he's the main reason, but obviously Neymar was one of the first, kind of big things to happen to Barcelona, which led to their downfall. The fact La Liga toughness increased doesn't change whatever you say. Yeah, either way, like I said, I don't think La Liga is tougher right now, honestly. The fun thing is that Messi reached 400 goals in 2014 when it was so competitive in La Liga, and Lewandowski has 365 and Messi reached 400 in 2014. Yeah, but obviously you have to appreciate Lewandowski, you have to appreciate Ronaldo. Obviously I like to banter, so I take the piss out of Ronaldo and stuff like that with the fans anyway. Obviously I'm not taking the piss out of Ronaldo, but you got to appreciate all of them, to be fair. I've decided to bench Rafinha next week. I'm looking to do that. Looks like a potential free hit. But I'm probably going to be looking to do that for a blank or double. But yeah, that's a good point. Watch Southampton keep a clean sheet and concede against Norwich. Yeah, that would be typical, wouldn't it? There is unique joy out watching players like Messi, which gives him the edge over out-and-out strikers like Lewandowski. Yeah, he's in that bracket like a Garrincha, like a Maradona, a Cruyff, and Zidane, and Ronaldinho. Those sorts of players you get off your seat and you pay to watch them. But then he adds the goals, then he adds the assists, and just everything. He's statistically the best or one of the best, and also on the eye test. So that's what separates him for me from the rest, of course. Let's see. Oh, I bench Rafinha probably. Yeah, a lot of people saying bench Rafinha. But to be fair, Tottenham are vulnerable defensively. But yeah, maybe he is the one to bench. Probably bench Rafinha. If he had Rudiger instead of James, I would say him. Actually, but Rudiger has a really good record against Leicester. He scored against them last season, and I think he scored against them the season before. But yeah, that is a good shout as well. I wouldn't be benching the fullbacks against Leicester. If I had Rudiger, I would maybe be thinking about it. No other options, and just like Dylan, I want to play Livramento. I also believe Leeds will struggle against Conte's Spurs away from home. Yeah, and Leeds have just been poor in general. If Bamford's not back, I would be tempted to bench Rafinha. Hey Dylan, you ever thought of becoming a footballer when you were younger? I mean, I was playing in teams before and stuff like that, especially when I was in primary school. And, I played in different positions, but in goal I was pretty good. And, but I also liked other stuff, like doing videos and stuff, funnily enough, even from a young age. So, yeah, obviously it was kind of like one thing, but I'd say, fully committed to it. But, yeah, of course, especially playing for your club and your country, obviously that's an amazing feeling. Messi coaching Barca. I'm not sure if I see Messi as a coach, but he did say he wants to be like a sporting director there one day. What's your squad value? 102.7 or 102.8, and I've got 0.7 in the bank, so 103.5 overall. Hi Dylan, what do you think? Foden to Jota and Vardy to Kane? I will not get rid of Foden to Jota. I will not do that. And as for Vardy to Kane, it makes sense next week, but I'm guessing you need to do the other one. Livramento needs to start. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be starting him. Please explain the Spanish term pecho frio, which is used to describe News Old Boys fans and players. Basically, they're like bottlers. So think of a Spurs, for example, or something like that. But yeah, let's not get Spurs fans angry. Thing with Messi is he does everything. It's really hard to not call him the best in the world when he's on form. Yeah, obviously, in terms of form right now, the best player in the world is Salah or Lewandowski. But overall, yeah, I agree. We have similar teams, Dylan. Maybe we'll use the free hit button next week. I don't think I'll be using the free hit. Obviously, you never know. I'm not going to completely shut it out, but I'll probably be looking, to use that in a free hit in a blank or double game week. I don't want to be rude, but have you realised that Messi's better than Lewandowski? Oh my God, yeah, wow. Let's not get aggressive, chaps. Let's not get aggressive. It's just opinions. Jota over Son, now that Firmino's injured. I still prefer Son, but of course Jota's looking great, and I am keeping an eye on him as well. Strikers aren't like Arnhem, Ruud van Nistelrooy and Romario, young Zlatan Suarez. They don't all run with the ball or score screamers. Instead, it's all about movement and intelligence. I'd argue that Van Nistelrooy, look, he was great, unless you mean RVP, but Van Nistelrooy was a really good striker, but he was kind of a fox in the box. He scored a lot of his goals inside the area. He did score some really good ones, but the other players you're talking about, yeah, they scored all types of goals, and R9 was probably the best striker of all time. He's fantastic. Are you tall enough to be a goalkeeper? I think I'm like Casillas' height, so maybe. I was more of a reflex kind of guy, but either way, don't worry, I'm not in goal, mate. I'm not in goal. Your thoughts on Wolves versus West Ham? It's a tough one. I don't think it's that easy for West Ham, but I think they will get the win. And I could see Wolves scoring, but maybe West Ham will score 2 or 3. Who's your football GOAT? For me, it's Messi. From people I've seen, obviously Maradona's another one I think is one of the best. R9 for me is the best striker of all time. I haven't seen enough of Pele, but he is definitely in the top 5, top 10, arguably even top 3. But obviously he's not my generation. Other than that, obviously Maldini in terms of defenders. Obviously defenders and goalkeepers don't really get a shout, but I think they're really good. But yeah, for me it's Messi. Next week I'm thinking Vardy to Hwang, Rafinha to Son. Yeah, I mean, that looks good to be fair. Obviously just bear in mind with Hwang, from Game Week 14 to 21, the fixtures are very poor. Bench Vardy against Chelsea, I'm thinking about it, to be fair, and also against double Chelsea defence. I'm thinking Greenwood to Jota next week. Yeah, I'll do the same in your situation, Goldhead. Did Mount to Jota for a hit, just bench Pukki. Pukki to Tony was the other thing I was contemplating, but I just can't look past Jota when he's a starter. Mistake. No, I think that makes sense. Just bear in mind, Firmino could be back earlier than expected. It happened last time, but it makes complete sense. Not saying Lewandowski has more career goals, just saying he scores more these days. Ballon d'Or is given based on a single calendar year, not career history. That's true, but once again, it's about the best player overall. And Lewandowski, in terms of assists or dribbles and stuff like that, he doesn't offer much else apart from his goals. But, if he wins it, you can't complain too much, I think. Salah is close to prime Messi and level dribbling that we have now. Yeah, I think from the players we have now, if Neymar was in form, I'd say him. But yeah, right now in current form has to be Salah. Who's the closest. I agree, Messi's the best in the world, but I don't think he deserves to win it this year just because of Copa America. Well, I don't think it's just because of that. I think it's because of Copa del Rey and also carrying Barcelona to a title fight. And even in the Champions League, he's done well this season. He scored a wonder goal against City. He scored a brace against Leipzig, and he scored an amazing goal against PSG. So I think he's kind of done everything this year. It's just that this season, Lewandowski has carried on the form, and at least in the league, he has been better than Messi. Especially this season. Is there any intrinsic advantage of having a high squad value? What does a high squad value show or signify? I ask this because I've noticed that my squad value has hardly ever been a 3-digit number. That's a good question. I think it doesn't mean much because it ultimately can, be an indicator that you've taken too many hits or, been very reactionary. And also, you can have someone like Antonio, for example, who's gone up in price so much, but now he's not that good of an asset or doesn't have the fixtures. But I think having good squad value is beneficial when you want to include as many premiums as possible. So, for example, if I wanted to have Son and Foden and Salah and Jota and also having good strikers like Antonio and a good defence, you need that squad value. But it's not the be-all and end-all. Didn't captain Salah as a dare and instantly regret putting my 12k spot at risk. Let's hope Tony gets a haul. Why would you let people dare to do that? But yeah, fair enough. you never know, Salah could blank, but he has a great record against West Ham. Salah's player profile is also pretty close to Messi, except Messi was even more nimble. Both have an insane left foot and have a great game reading skills, yeah. But I just think in terms of dribbling, look, Salah's really good, especially this season at dribbling, but Messi in terms of dribbling is and also the passing. This is why I think you can't really compare them, but right now, you have to say he is the closest thing we have to Messi, other than Messi. My football goat is Ezequiel Lavezzi. I missed that guy. Yeah, I mean, he was actually Argentina's best player in the World Cup final. I don't know why he got subbed off early, but yeah, I like Lavezzi. I don't know about football goat, but yeah, he was a guy I liked as well. Triple captain Son, he will enjoy Conte's system the most. Wow, triple captain Son against Everton. Wow, good luck, mate. But Everton do have a leaky defence. I think that makes sense. I think the higher squad value then is a sign that you have high-scoring informed players in your squad. True, that's another thing. And also, once again, it gives you just as much money as possible to, get the players you want in the future. But you don't have to have high squad value. And it also is a good indication that you've made early transfers, in my opinion. But yeah, that's kind of the thing to wrap it up. Thank you very much for so many people tuning in on this Friday evening. And if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much to everyone who's become a new channel member, who's sending super chats, and also who has just tuned in today. All the good discussion of the Ballon d'Or, of FPL, of course. That's the main thing that we've been talking about today. And football in general, that's obviously the kind of underpinning thing we've been talking about. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. Thank you so much to everyone who's been following me there already and engaging with the content on all platforms. And good luck with Game Week 11. And hopefully it's much better than Game Week 10. I'll go for any last questions now, and then we will wrap up. Yeah, Salah's nowhere near when it comes to Messi's playmaking skills. Yeah, and even dribbling, I'd say, personally. Dylan, I think you're a Messi fan over CR7. I mean, I did say I think Messi's better than Ronaldo and just in general better than any player. But obviously, in terms of goal scoring, you have to say it's identical between the two. But as an overall player, it has to be Messi. And here we go. Don't forget the once-in-a-while screamer scoring Maxi Rodriguez. Yeah, his goal in 2006 against Mexico is unbelievable. And of course, it was his penalty that sent Argentina to the World Cup final. Such a shame we didn't win it. The football GOAT? Well, it has to be between Nicky Butt and David Batty, isn't it? Come on, you think it's Maradona, mate. How do I increase my squad value? Is there any way other than buying players when they are low in price and then selling when the price has gone up? Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, because ultimately you need them to go up by 0.2 million in order for their sell value to go up by 0.1. But yeah. Good night. Thank you very much, Jay Martin. Good night to you as well. But we can't forget that Messi won Copa America. Lewandowski has not won anything with Poland, and Messi carries Barca for 15 years. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Messi carrying Barca for 15 years, that's not too relevant to the Ballon d'Or this year, but he carried them this year. He carried them to a Copa del Rey. Without Messi, they don't win it. Look at Barca under Koeman without Messi. They literally can't win any games, without Messi. Also, literally in the title race, he carried them in that as well. And if it wasn't for individual mistakes and some baffling team selections by Koeman, they probably would have won La Liga too. And also Copa America, best player, best goal scorer, best assister, and he won the trophy. That's never been done before. So that's why Messi has a great chance of winning it. Bayern will still win the Bundesliga. I agree with that. I think without Lewandowski, they still win it. Without Messi, Argentina probably don't win Copa America, and Barca definitely don't win Copa del Rey. See you, Dylan, and thanks again for your help and advice. Good luck, everyone. Good luck to Galactic Hobbit. Thank you for moderating the chat and for tuning in and all those questions. Say out loud, "Soo!" Well, okay, that's not too loud. I sometimes shout it, I'm a bit of a weirdo, aren't I? Good luck, Dylan, and everyone here for the weekend. See you all soon. Hit the like button too. Thank you very much, Yarang. And Nazi says, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much. You seem like a chill guy, man. I've been thinking of starting a football podcast. Would love to have you on sometime. Yeah, that could be a thing, Goldhead. And thank you very much, mate. I try to be chill. Sometimes I'm not, but yeah. Higuain costing Messi at least 2 trophies of Argentina. Yeah, but also Higuain, I think, had the most goal contributions in the knockout stages of any player in the 2010 decade. So, look, obviously Higuain did bottle it in the finals, but even 2014, Messi did miss a chance. Obviously, not a great chance, but by his standards, it's a chance. Palacio missed a really good chance. Obviously, Higuain did that one-on-one. Oh my God, I can't get that out of my head. And Copa America, 2016, very unlucky to hit the post, but should have buried it. Aguero missed a really good chance in 2016. I think he was put through by Messi one-on-one. And of course, Aguero did a really good header. Bravo saved off the line pretty much. 2015, there was that chance Higuain had where he literally just had to tap it in, but he had to stretch for it. I think Lavezzi's pass wasn't the greatest, to be fair, and that all started from a Messi dribble. Argentina and Messi have been very unfortunate on the international stage, so it's good that they finally got the win. But yeah, it's hard to win Copa America still, even though you could just say it's just Messi and Brazil. That C was jokes. Yeah, it's not even how Ronaldo does it. He's like, "Shoo!" I just said it like a little kid. But yeah, we can't blame Higuain. Okay, he missed, but don't forget the goals he scored too. Yeah, he scored the goal that got Argentina to their first semi-final in the World Cup since 1990. And in the Copa America semi-finals, he scored against Paraguay. That was kind of an irrelevant goal, to be fair. It was the 6th goal and a 6-1 win. But then in 2016, scored 2 goals against USA, scored in the quarterfinals of that competition. He was really good for Argentina, in my opinion. It's just the finals, in my opinion. Thank you for the streams. I like you take the time to engage your followers. Thank you, Kelvin. And yeah, I mean, still over 100 people there was in this stream. That's why, still going on. Dylan wasn't a chill guy, he's just a Werner guy. Oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm not a chill guy because I'm going to cuss you out now, mate. I'm joking, mate. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. Obviously, enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck with Game Week 11. I'll try to do a reaction stream this weekend, and then it's just content focusing on UCL, Fantasy, Matchday 5, and FPL Game Week 12. So thank you very much. Enjoy the football, and all the very best of luck.